Fuck it, I'm saying it. America deserved 9/11. 9/11. Only thing I know about the song that I think is really funny. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking weaselly little liar, dude. Holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Literally lying. What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking liar. Holy fucking, what the fuck?
What's going on, everybody?
You said America deserved that.
I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, fantastic afternoon, fantastic pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this Dawson I broadcast coming to you live once again, back, baby, from not sunny, as a matter of fact, very cloudy, very gray, rainy California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, all the girls, and all the MVs are having a fantastic one, because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is, wow, it's February 6th, 2025, 12:38 p.m. Once again, I just experienced this day yesterday in Japan, and it is the same day once again. Wow. This is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news. Before you guys say, where's Kaya? Where's Kaya? I understand. She is coming in a little bit, in like 20 minutes, actually. She'll be here in 20 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a time traveler. That's right. I have an announcement. I can travel through time. New time zone unlocked. All right. New camera is so nice. It's not the new camera. It's the old camera. The lighting is also needs a little bit of work, if we're being real. It's a little blown out in the back, as you guys can see. But I wanted to get the HasanAbi gaming team in here working while I was out in Japan. And they worked tirelessly to put this together and make sure that we had a new setup. I've been wanting to make this switch for some time now, because I wanted more room for activities behind me. And I think this is better overall for having guests on board as well. But yeah, blown out. Your back is blown out like I'm blowing your back out? No. All right. So, folks, let me tell you something, okay? This is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news about what's going on in the world of HasanAbi Piker in between the time period where I press the stop streaming button and press the start streaming button. And a lot has happened, as you guys may or may not know. The camera needs to be stopped down by like 0.7 EV. I'm a photographer. Please trust. Aren't trust. Ow! Setup's going to take some time to get used to. I just hit a Homer Simpson. Dope! Anyway, folks. This is part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news about what's going on in the world of HasanAbi Piker in between the time period where I press the stop streaming button and press the start streaming button. And here's what I need to tell you. Yesterday I ended the broadcast. You already know that, okay? Ended the broadcast after 6 hours or whatever, half day, not a big deal. Basically quitting, quiet quitting, but also loudly quitting, at this point. What the hell is wrong with me? But part of the reason why I had to quit early after 6 hours was because I had to do stuff. I had to do stuff before I flew out. I had to go and get a new suitcase. The reason why I had to go and get a new suitcase is because even though I have a massive suitcase, like a ginormous suitcase, I needed a second one. What the fuck is that New York fit? This is my Tokyo fit. My suitcase. Yeah, exactly. I need to get a goon case for all the Goon Cave toys. But yeah, I'm gonna show you in a second what I have in that bag. I'm gonna bust it open.
How disappointed I was that not Austin, nor Will, nor Hassan tried to
Did
get
the
my
onsen stream.
pants off? Do you have any idea the offense I took to that? I was certain that there would be at least some effort to get me into an onsen.
No. Real trick is to pack your suitcase inside another empty suitcase and fly with them. Check one bag, fly out with two if you know you know. Yeah, I can't do that. I couldn't do that because I had already. It's 14-day travel, chatter. It's a 14-day travel situation. There was no world in which I could pack another suitcase into my existing suitcase because I already needed to. I bought so many clothes when I was there. I bought so much underwear while I was there. It was crazy. Oh, what's happening with the freaking focus? The autofocus is a little busted. But yeah, lighting works in mysterious ways. You were dark in Japan, now you're light. Yeah. Can you do a clothing haul? No. Bro thinks it's Tarkov? A little bit. You have a lifetime, bro, got a lifetime supply of Family Mart undies? It's true. I did. I actually did. But yeah, I had to go and get a suitcase. And then I thought I could hang out with March and Waken them a little bit. And March was like, dude, if you don't leave right now, you're cooked. Because it was like by 2 p.m. It was like 2 p.m. And I was still thinking like, my flight's at 4:30. I'll be fine. We can hang out. Because I didn't want to leave. And March was like, you are going to miss your flight. So I reluctantly left. I had 2 checked in luggage. I got another one right here. I bought this one, which basically is like big enough that it took 18 kilograms of clothes and stuff, but it's also small enough that it could be checked in luggage. I didn't check it in though. Because I didn't want to carry it around with me. So I put all my anime figurines and stuff in there. But after that, yeah, anime figurines and Tenga and all the stuff that I got from JCP. But basically, I got to the airport and I'll be honest with you, I got some thoughts for Japanese Air. I went with Japanese Airlines, okay? I flew in with all Nippon Air, and then I flew back with JAL, okay? ANA is what I flew in with, JAL is what I flew out with, and let me tell you, there's some good and there's some bad. Now, first of all, JAL actually has apparently a first class as well, and usually when they have a first class, usually the business class is like kind of, I mean, it's still great, still business class, but it's not as good normally. But I will say, ANA did not have a first class. It was just a business class. And JAL was literally better than ANA. Austin was telling me that ANA is the best one and JAL is the second best, or I think it was March who said that. But JAL was definitely a better experience overall. I'm going to give you very quickly what was so sick about it. 1, the little bags that they give you on airplanes. I don't like the little baggy shit that they give you. Some airliners still do it for economy, toiletries. Some don't do it anymore, like the amenity kits. And in business class, it's nicer, right? They give you like nicer shit, like a swag bag. I never take it because the hell am I supposed to do, right? JAL gave me this like puffy eye bag steam mask. I've never gotten that before on any flight. I thought that was awesome. Number 2, take it and save it for later. No, by the way, when I say I don't actually use it, that's a lie. Because one time it was like a Toomey bag. I forget which airliner gave it to me, and I still use that as my toiletries bag to this day because it's like perfectly sized. But I usually don't take it. But I do use the stuff that's in it. JAL gave you an iPhone charger, which was insane, and also a little like stand that you can put your iPhone on. And it's like so cheap technically, but there's so much utility to it. You know what I mean? Like, because normally the amenities kit is like silly shit, you know? Oh, like here's some makeup remover, or I don't know what they put in there. I don't even look at it. But they gave you like a USB charger for the iPhone, and they gave you a little plastic thing that is super cheap, but is super cheap, but it opens up and then you can place your iPhone on it. So it like, you know, so you can watch it. And I thought it was like such a I mean, it was very thoughtful. You know what I mean? Because it's so convenient. It's so goddamn convenient when you think about it, and it's just. I thought it was great. The food was excellent on Japanese Airlines in comparison to ANA. ANA, not great. The food was not good at ANA at all. The food on JAL was good. At Haneda Airport, I got on the Haneda Airport, sweaty as heck. Okay, I get to Haneda Airport, and what kind of food they had? Oh, they had really good food. They had this thing where they had the tamago sandos and pork katsu sandos. So that's why I liked it a lot. Anyway, I get to Haneda. Haneda's a very nice airport, and I'm panicking. I have a lot of bags. I brought 3 technically checked in, like 3 luggage. Like I have my stream backpack. I have my regular sling bag that has the press tag on it. And then on top of that, I had the obviously the third bag was my remote desktop setup, right? And I have to bring that with me everywhere I go. I have to bring all of those things with me wherever I go. So I have 3 carry-ons and I have 2 checked in luggages. The first luggage I checked in, 36 kilograms. Now, normally, especially when you're flying business, they don't really stress that sort of thing because you're allowed to fucking check in 3 different pieces of luggage if you want to. But apparently, it's 32. 32 is the limit. And for that reason, 32 is the limit for JAL. So for that reason, they were like, oh yeah, either you can go down the corner, buy a new piece of luggage, put all of your stuff in this luggage, okay, so that you can get it to 32 kilograms, or you just need to pay extra, okay? And to be fair, it's a 2-week trip, so yes, I obviously had a lot of shit. But normally they don't really care because, you get 3 pieces of luggage all up to 32 kilograms, which is 70 pounds, right? So, or 80 pounds. So I'm thinking it should be fine. It's not fine. They charged my ass 60,000 yen for the convenience. 60,000 yen. Now, in the past, as a very penny pinching traveler, no, it's $400, Chad. It's not $5. Yeah, try 400. 400 American. That's insane. Okay, that is a highway robbery. They literally robbed me at gunpoint. Normally, I would have just went and bought a $400 piece of luggage at that point. You know what I mean? Just go buy $400, like a very nice backpack for $400. Then you can put the fucking the all of your equipment in it. No wonder they gave you an iPhone charger. No, it's a major scam. It's a major fucking scam. Major. Yeah, you can get like a fucking Remova for $400. Okay, and they cooked me because I didn't have time. I did not have enough time to literally go buy another bag and then dump out my fucking big ass 36 kilogram bag, which is like 80 plus pounds, almost 90 pounds at that point. 80-pound bag, and then move stuff around. So basically they were like, yeah, either this or you don't get on the plane. I mean, you had 2 weeks. Yeah, but I didn't weigh my luggage. That's a ticket. Like that's a flight. That's a different flight. I could have gotten a different flight at that point. You know what I mean? And it's highway robbery. And I was thinking in my mind, weigh your shit, bro. How am I supposed to weigh my shit? I'm in a hotel. Like there's no weighing your shit in a hotel. But basically, buy a scale. Yeah, I'm not going to buy a scale. No, I did not have a bathroom scale, I don't think. Or maybe I did, but I wasn't aware of it. Could have bought a seat for that suitcase. I know. I love that. Look, my point of the story is this is yet another way in which wealth dramatically improves your life and also makes you out of touch with the common folk in general. Okay? At least from my experience, because I've been in that situation before in the past, and I've had to do crazy shit. I've had to beg, cry, get on my hands and knees and say, please, can you let this slide? And in this instance, I was like, I'm cooked. Fuck it, we ball. So I dropped the fucking 4 bills on that shit. A punishment. Oh, wait, I think Kaya's here. Hold on. Oh, my God. Oh, shit, she is here. Oh, shit. Okay. Hold on, everybody. The big lady's here. 1 second. There she is. The little lady. Give her more pets, please. Okay, calm down. All right, where was I? Get your big ass out of the way. Everybody needs to calm down. Everybody needs to calm down. Okay? There is no kayak cam, and I'm not going to get out of the way. You guys are being annoying. Wait, let me see what these other cameras look like, actually. You got this one. Oh, wow. The lighting is a little bit better on this one. This is like a impromptu de facto kayak cam. And then this is the wide one. Please set the clock. Okay. Get her bed where your suitcase is right now. No, I want to utilize the space. Okay. Honestly, the alt angles are better lit than the main one. That would make all the difference. Yeah, this does look better. But yeah, where was I? Look at her again. I missed her so much. Is it possible to adjust the brightness on the HasanAbi lamp? Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to do that right now. Where was I with my story? Getting back to my story, even though this is blown out. How are you not jet lagged? I'm a goddamn G. I'm a goddamn legend. I'm a freaking legend, dude. That's what it is. So where was I? Did you try Choco Banana? No. Did you bring a Dragon Ball back? Oh yeah, I got scammed out of $400. So that was a big L for Jal, and it made me want to not actually fly with them, that experience. But then they sucked me back in, even though I will say this, the business class obviously is lie flat, but I didn't get to sleep too much because unfortunately both Anna and Jal, all Nippon Air and Jal itself, Japanese Airlines, are built for much smaller people. So even if it's like a lie flat, I can't technically lie flat. Not gonna lie, you got scammed with the fruit too. Yeah, I will never fly again. This current crisis has clenched it for me. What I explained to you. But yeah, then I got back to the land of the free, home of the brave, and let me tell you, okay, let me tell you something. Not good at all. Okay, I finally come back, and instantly, one of the things that you experience when you come back to America, especially after coming back from Japan, the land of public transit and where things just work. You know, you didn't get scammed. Jail tried to accommodate baggage that is beyond international regulations to protect the baggage handler health and safety. Fair. Did you fly the room on Anna on the way there? The seat config is slightly different. No. Especially when you come to Los Angeles Airport, LAX, after Haneda, you're like, are we on the same planet? Like, is this the same universe? It feels like you just came back to Earth after encountering an alien species. Okay? When you come back to LAX, it is objectively one of the worst airports on the planet. Going from Haneda to Tom Bradley International. Okay? Going from Haneda to Tom Bradley International is, I assume, what it's like when you reach like an uncontacted tribe and you're like, wow. But actually, that's not true, because an uncontacted tribe still is more harmonious in their peaceful coexistence with nature than LAX is in general. LAX, specifically Tom Bradley International, is all bad, no good. Okay? It's so fucking bad. It blows my mind how bad it is. It blows my mind. What is so great about Haneda? It's kind of bare. That's what's so great about it. I've had long conversations with my brother, Mr. Airplanes, about this issue time and time again. I don't care about like how cool an airport looks, which LAX doesn't look cool anyway. What is this? She's already being bad. She just got back from school and she's already trying to get up. Like I don't care about how bare an airport is. I'm trying to spend the minimal amount of time inside of an airport, okay? I am trying to spend as little amount of time as possible when I'm inside of an airport. As long as it's clean and as long as you're just in and out, clean and efficient, I'm good. Okay? LAX, not clean, not efficient, just awful. Just awful in general. You get out, there are thousands of people trying to get into the country. So there's TSA global entry, right? Which I now officially am going to have, I think, finally, after they took like years and years of processing me for some reason. I did do that afterwards. But basically, there's TSA pre-check global entry on one side, And then on the other side, it's residents, green card holders, and American citizens. There are thousands of American citizens that are trying to enter the country. Do you want to know how many people were working the Customs and Border Patrol, processing entries into the country? 3. 1 for global entry, 2 for everybody else. 3. It's like, it's mind-boggling to me how much of the issues that we experience as consumers, as travelers, in every aspect of our lives, okay, how much of the quote-unquote problem could be solved if they just hired more people. If you're not going to do e-gates, just hire more people. Hire more Customs and Border Patrol officers. Like, literally, this is the one job that they're supposed to be doing, making sure that you're not bringing in agricultural product that is harmful to the ecosystem in America. And, you know, I guess drug trafficking or whatever, like, that's the thing that they're supposed to do, is process people into the country in an in a fast manner, expedient manner. That's the job. That's your job as a CBP guy. And even on that front, they're like, nah, dog, we're too busy expeditiously. Even in that regard, we're like, nah, we have ICE agents that are supposed to be locking up Guatemalan aunties out here. So there's just not enough time. There's not enough bandwidth to process people coming in. What? Wait a minute. I'm confused. You were trying to say earlier that if you're poor and can't pay those 400s, you can get away with it. Oh, when I was broke and they would try to hit me with like a bag situation like that. Yeah, I would try to talk my way out of it. Sometimes they let you slide. I travel internationally every often, in and out of the U.S., and getting through the U.S. customs is the worst part of my travel. Not having a green card is definitely not making it easier. Don't you have electronic entry for U.S. citizens? No. Anyway, the point is, most things that suck because they just don't hire enough people. So that was step 1. That was annoying. Step 2, I get to the global entry interview, right? Because it's been ready for some time now. And the gate guy was like, oh, you have your interview set up. Like, you can go do it right now downstairs. So I was like, you know what? If there's no line, I'm going to do it. There's no line. The fucking computer was not working. Like, everything sucks. Everything is broken. Everything is broken beyond repair everywhere in this goddamn country. And just like when you combine all of those little things, you're like, oh, we are so fucking washed, dog. We are washed, okay? The United States of America is officially washed. Anytime you feel like you're being screwed over, in most circumstances, it is a direct consequence of not actually hiring enough people. Oh, your luggage didn't arrive on time? They didn't hire enough luggage handlers. Okay, that's it. It's literally that simple. They're overworking the luggage handlers that are working, and they didn't hire enough, knowing full well that there was going to be, additional need for additional hands. Anytime you have issues with like any kind of service that you're receiving, it is a direct consequence of underpaying, hiring not enough people, and overworking the people that you have hired. It's absolute garbage. Did you compare this to the Japanese airport experience? Yeah, the Japanese airport experience is like everything works, everything is fast. Kaya, place, get back there. What is this? Don't worry, Elon and Doge is going to fix all this, though. Yeah, he just needs access to all of our finances. Hate my DMV workers when they're underwired. People hate DMV workers when they're underwired. Can you tell us about the questions you were asked? Yeah, they asked me about my DUI from fucking 2014 when I got arrested for a DUI. And I was like, I only got arrested. I never got prosecuted. And it's like weird because in the system, it still shows as like a misdemeanor, which is weird because I never was charged. I never even was prosecuted. I was just arrested for it. But it doesn't matter. It was 11 years ago anyway. So I think it's like you can have one misdemeanor on your record, and you can have one misdemeanor on your record. It shows everything. But basically, I think, yeah, you can have one misdemeanor on your record if it's if it's outside of the 5-year scope, it doesn't matter. But you can have one misdemeanor on your record in the last 5 years, and that you can still get it. But apparently, you can use your global entry. You can lose your global entry for like really silly reasons. Like you can lose your global entry if you brought in food from the airplane into the country and you had like an annoying what? Explain DUI stories so you don't clip chimp. What do you mean? I've explained it a million times over. Did you actually drive drunk? No, I actually, that's the reason why I didn't get prosecuted. I actually was under the legal limit, but I got an annoying fucking cop who just like made me blow on the thing numerous times so he could arrest me for it. But I actually didn't get prosecuted for it because the blood work showed that I was under the legal limit. And weren't you just sleeping in your car? No, that's a different story. I've gotten ticketed for sleeping in my car before. Really annoying, but that's a separate story. You have to be really blatant about sneaking stuff in to lose it, but food and shit is highly unlikely. No. I mean, basically, if it was if you had like an annoying border guard or whatever, they can actually come in and just be like, "What do you have in your bag?" "Oh, you have food in your bag. You have produce in your bag or whatever. Like you're cooked." Anyway, so you sobered up by the time blood work happened. My drunk uncle did that too, lol. I like that you don't even know the story, but that's your perspective. No, dumbass, that's not what happened. It's literally I wasn't driving inebriated. The last time I had oh my god, why am I talking about this? This is gonna make it into the next content nuke. Things that I've explained a million times over. My personal experiences that I voluntarily revealed about myself, that people act as though they are, massive revelations. It's like hiding shit away from customs chat is dumb, but it makes sense where they're invasive bugs that asexually reproduce and destroy the environment. Yeah. So, aside from all of that, I came home, and of course, I was faced with a litany of problems. Now, I come home, I say hi to my mom. Internet's not working. I get into the studio. I try to turn on the PC. There's no power. Turns out everything is broken. Literally everything. And it was working yesterday. And I know it was working yesterday because the HasanAbi gaming team was in here switching this stuff around for the past week, right? It's not Murat. As much as I like to blame Murat, it's not Murat. Okay? It's because of the rain. I have like a water surge protector thing that at the mere sight of moisture automatically shuts off a big chunk of my power grid, and a lot of the stuff is rigged. A lot of the electricity grid in this room is directly connected to that, including my server room, all the stuff, right? So it's a wet switch. It's very dumb. But yeah. So I had to dig deep and basically go through the 3 tons of industrial equipment that Murat has in my garage to go into the little cubby that is my server room and fix this process and jerry rig it with an extension cord and make sure that my generators were powered up enough. And then I'm going to swap it back out. That's what I was doing. I got off the plane and instantly I'm in the server room trying to fix this. And basically, here we are. I did do it. Quality looks so good. It looks like you're in front of a green screen. Nice. They're going to say industrial equipment is Hamas weapons. Yeah. I wonder what the rest of your house looks like because this room is crazy. I can't believe you got home today, came home to that, and didn't take it as a sign to take the day off. Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? Anyway, how many times did you go to 7-Eleven? A lot. Your power grid in LA is so bad you need a generator. Yeah, I have a generator. I have multiple generators. But yeah, that's it. Why'd you change the camera angle? Freaking me out a little bit. I wanted to use the space that I have in this room a little bit better. I wanted to maximize the space. The bitrate is worse than before. Yeah. Anyway, that's where we're at. That's what's happening. That's what's going on. And did your mom compliment your new brows? She didn't even notice my new brows. So I guess maybe it wasn't that crazy. I think the camera was a bit further down and would look even better. No, that's the separate camera. All right. So that's it. We're going to get to the news. But those are the stories that I had for you in terms of personal news. Weather's ass, 3 guys manning the border processing thousands. Bridge connecting the terminal broke. We are so washed. The Macias, thank you for the playlist. The brows aren't that bad. You definitely overreacted. Yeah, I think they're growing back, so it's fine. The brows are growing back. The beard is growing back. It's good. We fixed it. Does being on the right side of the camera frame symbolize your right wing pivot? Yes. AI brows on fleek. Yeah, welcome back home. It's good to be back home. We got a lot of news to cover, obviously. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world, and I'm back in the chaos. I was talking to Connor. This morning, and he's like, it's kind of funny to me that like you have basically escaped the country since Donald Trump got inaugurated. And he's right. I did do that. I straight up escaped. Wait, Mini F. I straight up escaped the country almost instantly after Donald Trump's inauguration. And I haven't looked back since. Like, this is my first moment in the United States of America. This is my first moment in the U.S. Since Donald Trump's inauguration, basically. And let me tell you, things are not great. Are we gonna get one more IG photo dump? Probably not. I didn't take a lot of photos, but it was definitely a great time overall. I loved hanging out with friends. I loved, doing all the stuff that I did. I love the fact that I'm able to just like do my regular streams, which is important for me, that I keep it up, right? But then also simultaneously, you were taking 60 photos per second, like 50% of your time there. True. But no, I didn't take any, like, I didn't get flicked up. But basically, it's always good. It's always good to be able to do my regular stream and then also go out and unwind and do fun shit. And be able to share that experience with you guys as well. And yeah, it was awesome. Are you going to consider starting later or back to the regular time? No, regular time. I was supposed to start at 11. If it wasn't for the technical issues, I would have started at 11 this morning. Thailand stream next time with the Rainbow collab stream at a night market in Bangkok. I would love to do that. Also, I would love to... Marsh found your gift. Oh, I left him a goodie bag.
Probably.
Is he still here?
He's like, I sent you. No, he went home.
Oh, okay.
But he's like, I sent you a care package. I
Aw.
haven't sent it to your room. I think it's
Cutesy.
just his trash.
Oh.
It's not. Wait, what? There's literally unopened shit in there. I got him painkillers, protein shake because he needs his sustenance. Okay, he's a growing boy. I got face masks, multiple face masks. I got him. He said my trash painkillers, not painkillers, like ibuprofen, Tenga chocolate,
Well, that-
And there's like some bath
and then
salts.
bath
Oh, it
bombs.
is because this is definitely for his dog.
For his dog?
Yeah, it's literally a dog toy.
No, that was definitely, I just put that in as a meme. Yeah, that's trash. Dude, what are you talking about? Bath bombs and multiple face masks, protein shake, Advil, like Japanese Advil. What is happening? Bath bombs, be for real right now, bro? Wait, what do you mean? There's a bathtub in the room. I used it. I was in the bathtub. Rest and recovery is very important. Did you consider Emperor Hirohito watching over your samurai training a blessing or a curse? Well, considering that he was in the room with us, but I didn't realize until after the fact, I think it was a curse. Regardless of my recognition, I ended up failing spectacularly on the tatame mats in a way that I had not prior, because this is not my first time doing Bushido, following the way of the sword, the code of samurai. This is actually my second time, but one might even say, Hasan, you have never stopped following the code of samurai. And I suspect it was because of Emperor Hirohito's presence in the room that made it so that I wasn't as good as I was last time around. Yeah. Sensei was disappointed. Sensei is a little bit of a right-wing nationalist, it seems, by the way. I mean, he was really, really skilled. But yeah. Room redecorated? No. Room is not redecorated. Room is the same. It's just we moved stuff around. You ruined the floor last time. The twerk stream was the best stream I've seen in my life, and I watched it 3 times. Wait, really? You guys liked it? More IRL streams with the new backpack? Do you think the spirit of Hitler being in the room with you while learning to play polka accordion was a gift or a curse? What a strange question. No, I agree. To be fair, I had no idea. And we found out after the fact. You normally don't suspect someone in Japan of being like an active supporter. It's from what I understand, it's like not very commonplace, because I asked around a little bit afterwards. I was like, is that normal? Is that normal to have? And they were like, no, it's not. Like even conservatives don't actually have that. I think they lied to you. I'm not going to lie. No, the people I was talking to, is normal for the type of people who talk about having samurai ancestry in 2025. I mean, that kind of sucks, because I think like preserving the ancient arts and the traditions of sword fighting is not a bad thing necessarily. There's importance there, I think, regardless of what it may have been used for. The Toyota technique, which is what we learned that the Imperial Army used, by the way. It was literally the Imperial Army sword fighting techniques that we learned, which our sensei had explained to us, which I already thought was kind of strange from the jump. That gave me my first clue that maybe this was interesting. But I think there is something, there's definitely something important about preserving those things. Like, I don't have an issue with that at all, as long as, you know, you're not hyping it up or celebrating it. But yeah. So he basically went to a Civil War reenactment enthusiast. Yeah, except the Civil War reenactment enthusiast had actually had lineage directly going back to the generals that were, you know, teaching the techniques of how the South fought in the Civil War. So it's like even worse than that. You know what I mean? Yeah, he was like, this is the best way to slay Chinese peasants. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even blast off yet. What the hell? I forgot. I haven't even blasted off yet, and it's been an hour. All right. I'm back. Okay. All right. Shinto and samurai was used like Nazis used runes. My husband studied Hokushin Ito-ryu under a master swordsman in Japan and taught the top generals of defense force in Japan. Yeah, I'm canceled. I'm a right-winger now. I'm back in the DEI free zone, and things are worse than ever. Judge blocks Trump's federal buyout plan. Gaza ownership. Trump's final solution on Gaza and more. Get in now. Right wing pivots so hard. You're going to poker night tonight? What's poker night? No, I'm not doing that. Can you actually do something? I'm bored. Hasan, why did you buy a house if you're a socialist? Why did you buy a house? Can you actually do something? I'm bored. Will you cover the impeachment that was filed? No. Okay. All right. New Hope Corps edit. End of the podcast. Oh yeah, I watched this already. I liked it. I reposted it. Hold on 1 second. Let me blast off. I like the new setup. Thanks. This camera angle is a lot better, even though it's like a weird angle than the main camera that I use. So I got to fix the main camera that I use right now, but I don't know how to use it. So let's blast off. Maybe I'll try to fix it. Reform chatter. What is this? I know there's been a lot of drama surrounding you recently, but I just want to say thank you for your content. I used to be very much right-wing libertarian in my early high school years, but after learning more about U.S. history, and especially after discovering your content, I've definitely become more of a democratic socialist thanks to your content. So genuinely thank you for your content. It helped bring me out of the right-wing rabbit hole. Hey, hell yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Godzilla fan. All right, anyway, that's it. That's the blast off. We blast an HasanAbi. Get in now. I need to fix the autofocus on this camera too. Like, the autofocus is busted on the camera. The lighting is busted on the camera. There's a lot that's wrong with the main camera that I use, so I have to fix all of that. Another one of my victims. Yeah. Don't tell that guy that I'm a radical. Hey, genuine question. Why do you have cola in your fridge when you boycott Israel? They've literally been in my fridge since before the boycott, and I have just not touched them since then. And I'm too lazy to take it out and toss them out. But yeah, they're dusty. I have not drank a Diet Coke since the BDS. I think I might have had one, like literally. Same Aldi brand Coke is better to me now. No, it's not. I just don't drink. I've been drinking Pepsi. Stop performative lip shit. I don't think BDS is performative lip shit at all. I'm a Dr. Pepper head anyway, so it doesn't hurt me that much. You should drink them on stream, really rile up people. Yeah. You should look into HEMA. It's like a historical European fencing, longsword mostly, but also rapier, sword, and buckler, etc. It's a lot of fun. It is performative. BDS is not performative. It is exactly how boycotts are supposed to be tailored and designed. Very limited in its scope and very targeted and very directed. BDS has also secured some victories already. So I don't think it's bad at all. Stop lying. Literally years ago, someone asked if you drink Diet Dr. Pepper and you said, no, I don't drink that garbage. Yes, I didn't used to drink Dr. Pepper. I do now. Yeah, if BDS was so performative, it wouldn't be illegal in like 35 American states, okay? Trust me. Nothing that is like performative lip shit is ever gonna get illegalized, all right? All right. Here, I'll start off with the Hope Corps. At the end of the podcast, I was so fucking gracious to him. Far more gracious than he goddamn deserves. Like, literally. Okay, this Hope Corps is not normal Hope Corps. It's just me ranting. Because he can't fucking cut it. Like, he's like, oh, I don't want to talk about politics anymore because people are hurting my feelings when I talk about Israel. It's like his whole shtick for the past year has been saying liberal Zionist talking points and then getting mad at everyone when they go, are you a Zionist? And he's like, whoa, this is anti-Semitism. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. What kind of fucking moronic attitude is this? Just don't talk about politics. Just go back to fucking talking about like gooning or Justin Baldoni or whatever fucking new thing is happening online. You're clearly not intellectually equipped enough. I'm sorry. You got a child's brain. Go enjoy childish things. The fuck is wrong with you? This is rant core. Anyway. Yeah, I saw the golden pager gift thing, which is really annoying and gross. Netanyahu gifted Trump with a gaudy golden pager mount on a slice on a felled ancient olive tree. The settler colonial psyche is a cesspit. Doge staffer resigns because he was outed as a Nazi. A staffer for Elon Musk's Department of Governmental Efficiency, whose access to U.S. Treasury payment system was approved by a federal judge on Thursday, has links to a deleted social media account that advocated for racism and eugenics. They want to cut NOAA's staff by 50%, even though the National Weather Service has been understaffed for a while now. Dude, cutting NOAA is the dumbest thing you can do. What the hell is happening? Every single weather service utilizes NOAA. Every single weather service uses this. Oh my God, we are cutting off our face to spite our noses. We're cutting off our nose to spite our faces. Oh my God, there is no decipherable reason. Oh my God, especially at a time where climate change is getting rapidly worse. Oh my God, what are we doing? This is literally the vaccine the vaccine strategy, basically. If you don't know that the weather is getting worse, if you're completely unaware of the devastating consequences of anthropogenic climate change, specifically insane weather events that are supposed to be once in a lifetime happening with like a monthly frequency, as long as you just don't know about it, then it might as well be not real. NOAA is a crazy thing to go after. NOAA is one of those aspects of the federal government that I talk about and hype quite a bit, which is the invisible ways in which the actual government and the military save people's lives, okay? It is incredibly important. What the hell? Hogs thinking USAID was giving money to Jeffrey Epstein. There's so much fake shit going on the USAID stuff too. I do think, I mean, I've complained about this quite a bit, but I do think that especially now, there is a major issue. There is a major problem with just disinformation. Donald Trump tweeted a bunch of stuff recently, or truthed a bunch of stuff recently, that were just all wrong, just completely wrong. Virtually everything that they talk about, virtually everything that comes out of like the official government organs in terms of like where spending is or what's happening, or like where is the USAID money going to or whatever, almost all of it is wrong. And it's actually shocking. And I say this as someone who is critical of USAID, okay? As someone who has been very critical of USAID and has routinely, talked about the real ways in which the USAID, in very nefarious ways, USAID operates, okay? And things that used to be just, incorrect information being spread around in email chains are now coming from, they're coming from the federal agencies, which is terrifying. He also tweeted heinous shit too. Yeah, this is the other part of the story that I'm going to get to in a second. Do you think Marjorie Taylor Greene said the Jews control the weather because Noah is a Jewish name? That's really funny. Maybe that's the reason. What's happening in the Capitol? Don't read the comments. Okay, well, I have to see the comments. Okay, I don't want to watch this. I don't want to. It's going to piss me off. Isn't USA just another tool for empire control over governments in the name of aids and grants? Stopping it is against imperialistic essence of the USA. Yeah, it is, which is why it's weird that the Trump administration is trying to do that. USAID is one of these agencies that simultaneously does help and boost American soft power capabilities, and also is utilized in aiding and abetting the CIA time and time again. And so there's some good. There's a lot of good. Then there's a lot of bad. Okay. Some of the good is done openly in order to boost American profile. And some of the good is done to justify and legitimize the evil that USAID contributes to. Ultimately, though, when a guy like Donald Trump, who is also interested in maintaining American empire, decides to take this decision, decides to undermine America's soft power capabilities. I'm a little bit confused by that process. And then I understand that, or I speculate that the reason why he's doing that is not necessarily to dismantle American empire piece by piece. It's because he wants to do all hard power, no more soft power. You probably didn't see it, but a fuck ton of NAFO accounts are basically all but confirming that they're being funded by it. Lamau is so funny. They're crashing out so hard. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that too. But then there's also a lot of misinformation about like Politico is being funded by USAID or whatever. There's a lot of like silly shit that's just swirling around. You know what I mean? I've seen a bunch of crazy stuff. Sorry to backtrack a bit, but it feels like the stage is personally being set for another big terror attack, specifically targeting Palestinians and lightning TSA. Feels like they're asking for a terror attack so they can blame it on Palestine and justify declaring war against them. I mean, who knows? I think that the real avenue of attack would be more so the fact that Donald Trump has said that he has a contingency plan if Iran ever assassinated him. That's a really terrifying thing to mention. That's a really weird thing to bring up, because you're basically saying like, yeah, if anybody assassinates me, we will blame Iran and then we can go and, you know, do the final solution on Iran. That's like someone's out there salivating. Okay. USA was paying for 8 million in subs to Politico. How is that not funding? Yeah. It's what is it? It's like Politico's news wire service. It's like being having a Bloomberg terminal, chatter. Like they have different services that they offer, like real-time straightforward politics. And it's not even that. It wasn't USAID, I don't think, right? That's grooming. The funniest part is these, you know, here's what I think. I don't think the federal government has to go through USAID to offer funding to Politico. Okay? That's not how manufacturing consent works. You don't actually buy those favors. You actually get people into those top positions by offering access to people that report favorably on your actions. Okay? US aid was 44K, 8 mil for the entirety of the government. Minute by minute updates by a subscription package for like 10K per. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, here, Dropsite also offered this some coverage as well. If we're going to talk about like USAID funding and all the misinformation swirling around.
Every day we are reaching previously unseen levels of duplicity and stupidity, particularly on this website owned by Elon Musk. Let's take this one for a second. So now the MAGA populists think that they have uncovered a new scandal because they say that Politico is actually funded by USAID to the tune of $8.1 million. Now, if you look closer at the numbers that they've pulled out of this database, in fact, that $8.1 million, that's across the government. That's to lots of different subscriptions. It doesn't even have anything to do with USAID and Politico. But if you dig even deeper, what they found is that Politico, over several years, has gotten $44,000 from USAID for subscriptions. Now, Politico runs a product called Politico Pro, which can cost as much as $10,000 a year. Politico is not the only one that does.
Yeah, there's a lot of they got Huberman. Oh my God, I'm shocked that another one of these guys that Hawk's product was stupid enough to be duped by the likes of Ian Miles Chong. Okay, wow. I thought that guy was a brilliant neurosurgeon. What happened? Or a neuroscientist, PhD or whatever. Bro, I swear to God, when you got podcast brain, when you have podcast brain, it just like you're bricked. You're bricked no matter what. Okay. There's just something to podcast brain. No matter how intelligent you might have been at some point, when you get into like the right-wing adjacent podcast game, something in your brain just stops working. Something in your brain just stops functioning.
A product like this, Bloomberg.
I'm confused though. Why is Politico Pro $10,000 per year? It's like a Bloomberg terminal. Do you know what a Bloomberg terminal is? Like, especially corporate accounts for things like that are even more expensive than individuals. But this is like the type of service that offers like real-time, immediate news. It's like news stations use it. Okay, it's a B2B service. A Bloomberg terminal is giving you real-time data on the stock market. They are incredibly expensive. Bloomberg terminals are used for trading, Politico Pro is a service similar to that, okay? It's a computer software system provided by the financial data vendor Bloomberg LP that enables professionals in the financial service sector and other industries to access Bloomberg professional services through which users can monitor and analyze real-time financial market data and place trades on the electronic trading platform. Bloomberg Pro is a newswire service, not Bloomberg Pro, sorry. Politico Pro is a newswire service that is similar to a Bloomberg terminal. Still doesn't explain why USAID funded it. They didn't fund it. They purchased it for the people that work at USAID. Because if you work at USAID, you need access. It's akin to working at one of the aspects of the it's akin to having Bloomberg terminals at the SEC. Okay, it's akin to the SEC purchasing Bloomberg terminals. Do you understand? Yeah, it's like saying they funded Microsoft because they bought Excel. They're buying a product. They're buying a service. Like there is plenty of silly shit that USAID and the federal government, I'm sure, has spent money on, especially because one of the worst aspects of the private-public partnership is the unimaginably expensive ways in which the federal government basically subsidizes companies that lobby for these contracts. So normally, if you were to purchase, I don't know, K-Cups, right, at the market, or if you were even a business that had a subscription to the Nespresso K-Cups or Keurig cups or whatever, the price varies. If you're purchasing it as a singular consumer at the market, at the grocery store, it's infinitely cheaper than oftentimes like a business subscription that you might have, because B2B services are more expensive because businesses can pay for it, so they're farming more money. The government is on steroids when it comes to that. So there's a lot of inefficiencies in that regard. And the government is the worst one because they have a lot of money, they have a lot of wealth, and companies absolutely know that and therefore charge incredibly high prices because they know the government's going to pay for it. And they even lobby to make sure, or they network to make sure that they continue getting those contracts. Having said that, however, in terms of like the Bloomberg Pro structure, the Politico Pro structure, like that makes sense. That makes sense because, this is a newswire service that government employees are utilizing.
Some others do. I think this is a pretty corrupt way to run journalism because the people that can pay that aren't mostly government. That's a tiny drop in the bucket.
Bro, what's happening right now? Asmongold is spreading propaganda about MLK, calling him a disgusting commie. MLK was a commie. Wouldn't say he was disgusting, but he certainly was a commie. Don't know why Asmongold would have an issue with that, though. He's like, just found out about this MLK guy. Turns out it's more than... Turns out he wasn't saying, I have a dream where, black people and white people can get along. He was saying a lot more than that.
Mostly corporation.
Yeah, he wasn't a commie. He was a democratic socialist, but whatever. It's a fucking commie is a catch-all terminology. I don't care. This is the thing that I try to respond to people with whenever they're like, Hasan, are you a communist? People are saying you're a communist. And you're like, why don't you care to make this distinction? Like, it's because I don't care. I don't care. I don't think that it's... people say Nancy Pelosi is a communist, okay? Everyone is a communist as long as they are like a little bit center left on certain issues in the eyes of the broader American society. I'm pretty sure that commenter was wrong, and Asmon read a chatter saying that. Be careful. Yeah, I don't think Asmongold will be anti-MLK, at least not yet. That's like Charlie Kirk level. All right, let's continue with this. I'm having a hard time finishing
lobbyists, weapons makers, pharmaceutical companies, the kinds of people that you don't really want to be.
Li Fong actually had a really good take on this, by the way. I can't believe I keep pausing this video as soon as I start it, but what's really interesting about the way that people yell, hold on, about this sort of thing, about like all of this money, where is it going, right? Like, oh, they're spending the money so unwisely, blah, blah, blah. Do you know how much graft occurs in the private sector? This isn't a defense of the public sector at all, okay? This is not a defense of the public sector and the gross misuse of funds or whatever. But as Felix also pointed out, using this as a jump-off point, the Wall Street Journal documented over $50 billion in Medicare Advantage fraud. Insurers systematically diagnosing fake diseases in patients so they can overbill the government. That is a million times worse than all the silly sounding grants that go viral here. Okay. There is such an unbelievable amount of graft, gouging, collusion, and outright fraud like this in the American healthcare system, and none of it has any salience in our politics. There are just far too many people that are involved, and they're too integral to both parties. One of the most discouraging signs of this was seeing Madoff-level fraudster like Rick Scott become a prolific national figure. He doesn't even have anything else going for him. He looks like the fucking magician from that criminally boring Game of Thrones season 2 Danny storyline. Like, Rick Scott, former governor of the state of Florida, and also is he congressperson from the state of Florida now, and also a formative figure in the Republican Party, literally is a award-winning, record-breaking, prolific fraudster. Okay, he defrauded the federal government funds for Medicare, and I think, or was it Medicare or Medicaid, to the tune of billions of dollars, and there were no repercussions, no penalties for it whatsoever. Okay, like, that is the real shit. That's what I mean when I say there is a public-private partnership here that the American corporations use and abuse, and the government absolutely allows it to happen, and it doesn't matter at all. But hey, keep paying attention to, I don't know, some National Institute of Health grant that went to a medical research that you don't understand and you think is silly and stupid, and therefore you should have a say in having those grants removed. Okay?
Be the ones that are funding journalism, because then the journalism becomes captured by that money. That is not the scandal they think they found. They think they discovered that USAID is the one funding Politico. That's wrong. But the funniest thing is, wait until they find out who funds Elon Musk. Elon Musk's main funder is the federal government.
Yeah, for everything. Every single industry that Elon Musk is involved in, okay? Every single industry that Elon Musk is involved in is funded and subsidized by the federal government. Tesla was kept afloat for years with the credit, the green credit swap scheme that the government created. It was subsidized by a lot of the renewable energy subsidies that existed for electric vehicles. SpaceX would not exist without NASA or additional government funding. It's another instance of the private-public partnership that exists. Elon Musk has been bailed out a million times over. Okay, as far as Starlink, that's another aspect of U.S. aid. Okay, U.S. aid directly funds Starlink. The Defense Department directly funds Starlink. How the fuck does Starlink reach the hands of Ukrainians? That's it. And it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating that people simply don't want to recognize that at all. So that's one of the other annoying parts about this, is that, like, Elon is supposedly this butcher that is, like, making the government more efficient. Meanwhile, he's directly getting funded by the federal government and also being investigated by the federal government at the same time.
So if being funded by the federal government makes Politico corrupt when they're not actually funded by the federal government, what do they think of Elon Musk being funded by the federal government? And whatever he's getting now from the feds, he's going to be getting many times more than that over the coming years because of suckers like this guy.
Jesus Christ, that got loud. Yeah. The U.S. government gave the New York Times tens of millions of dollars over just the past 5 years, despite paying relatively little money to the New York Times. In the years preceding 2021, for instance, in August 2024, the U.S. government awarded $4.1 million to the New York Times. The bulk of these funds came from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, followed by the National Science Foundation. The query the original poster ran is not limited to the recipient being the New York Times, nor is it limited to the past 5 years. It's actually New York. He key searched New York, okay, and then claimed it was the New York Times. What a spectacular moment in history. We laugh about how stupid these people are. Okay, you fell for an internet hoax and now you're angry over it. Explain why Chelsea Clinton received $83 million from U.S. aid. Chelsea Clinton did not receive any money from U.S. aid. The thing is, it doesn't matter. It literally does not matter. Okay, you can actively lie, deliberately lie, and it does not matter as long as it suits your ideological purpose. You can just lie and lie and lie, and not a single person will go, hey, I keep getting duped by this person because nobody cares about the truth. And if nobody cares about the truth, nobody cares when they're getting duped. As long as it serves their purpose, as long as it serves their ideological purpose of humiliating their interlocutors, their ideological opponents, owning the libs, if you will. Okay? That's it. That's where we're at now. That is where we are at now. Nothing else. Any chance the CIA will do this, do its first good deed ever by exposing Musk for the fraud he is in retaliation? I don't think so, but we'll see. Probably not. I'm not holding my breath on that one. Yeah, there was a tweet that was claiming that AOC is worth $30 million. It's not the case at all. And as a public servant, her, salary and her earnings are out there for people to figure out on their own if they choose to do so. And no, they don't have that. She doesn't have smoke like that. Okay? She doesn't have motion like that. Y'all are ridiculous. Because of the U.S. funding freeze, the entire global ecosystem of China nonprofits is facing an extinction event. I'm not exaggerating for clicks. This is literally what's happening. In many cases, these orgs provide our last window into what is actually happening in China. They do the painstaking, risky work of tracking Chinese censorship, tallying local protests, uncovering rights violations, and documenting the Uyghur genocide. The research and other work done by these nonprofits is invaluable. It largely isn't replicated by think tanks, universities, private firms, or journalists. If it disappears, nothing will replace it, and Beijing's work to crush it will be complete. The U.S. spending freeze has revealed how dependent these organizations are on a single government for their survival, and by extension, how fragile our sources of information of China really are. She doesn't take money from lobbyists, so she ain't got too much, and she does it legit, not a piece of shit like the rest of them. Amen, brother. Yeah. You're totally making things up. I'm not even worth $1 million, nor even $500K. I don't even own a house. I'm one of the lowest net worth members of Congress, trade no stock, and take no outside income. My filings are public. I loathe corruption, and your lying is disgusting. It doesn't matter, though. Okay? Look at this. Breaking. Trump called for an investigation to find out who in the government has been getting kickbacks from USAID. For instance, AOC has been in Congress for 6 years. She makes $174,000 a year. She's worth $30 million. The only way that happens is kickbacks. Wife and mom, politically conservative, MAGA Trump 2024, now more than ever, hashtag America First, hashtag MAGA. Just a lie. 113,000 likes. 16 million views on this. You could just make up anything about anyone nowadays, and people just be like, all right, I believe it. Does this suit my agenda? Does this make me feel like I have a sense of community if I go along with it? Is this destroying my ideological opponents that I have been positioned and primed into hating? Then I'm on board. I don't care. No one is going to fucking look into it. Okay? As a matter of fact, it's bad to look into it. Do not look into it. That's the attitude that people have here. Okay? That is the process now. That is the modus operandi. It's gotten so much worse because of Twitter. I cannot state this enough. It is so much worse. These things used to be relegated to email chains that your grandparents were sending to one another. And now it's everywhere. It's completely escaped containment. The U.S. must immediately grant emergency waivers to China-focused nonprofits. The U.S. is not able to do this. Governments around the world that value democracy, human rights, and truth must step in and find a way to restore funding to these organizations. I mean, I suspect that, is this one of the think tanks that gets U.S. aid grants? Like, she's literally just tweeting about this because, like, she's getting her funding cut. Now, another example of this can also be seen. Another example of this can also be seen in the way people treat even like online drama and shit too, like the minutia. Like people regularly would be like, "Your dad is a billionaire. Your dad is a billionaire," about me, and then they'll point to like some AI made article. He's not. I take care of my family, including my dad, and I'm very proud to do so. But people will just believe it and they'll go along with it. Because why? Well, because fuck Hasan. That's why. So it's from every aspect, all the way from the most inconsequential shit like streamer drama, okay, all the way up to massively consequential and important issues. They scream fake news media, so they're more likely to buy into those garbage AI sites peddling garbage as independent journalists. Yeah. Pretty sure you need a billionaire dad to afford a house in West LA. No, I am the person who makes the money. What are you talking about? And people would just unironically go along with a lie, then investigate the truth because the lie makes you feel good. That's it. A key part of China's agenda is to persuade its own citizens and the world, falsely and through deception and coercion, that democratic systems are not better. Beijing claims this system is the best way to guarantee economic prosperity and stability. It is difficult and time-consuming to do the work that provides Beijing is lying. Except the reality of a centrally controlled government being more efficient is not actually done through propaganda. It's done through just the reality. Okay, their development projects are better than ours. Okay, the Western liberal capitalist democracies have been failing for the past couple of decades now. They've been on a downtrend, whereas China in that process has greatly improved both their economy and the material conditions for as many Chinese citizens as possible. Okay, and they've done this because there is centralized control. That's it. You can't just like propagandize that into existence by saying, oh yeah, we're actually doing great. It's just something that you experience. It's something that you see with your own two eyes. I guess the point that they're trying to make is that what is happening is the American government can no longer propagandize against that to make Americans think like, no, Chinese people are eating dogs and rats and they're living in mud huts, I promise. The best way to combat that, and I do think that America should combat that, is by also doing development projects on our own. That's it. It's that simple. It's odd that people do not recognize that, you know? Anyway, people get so mad when you speak positively of China. I want our government to do similar development projects. That's all I want, okay? I want our government to actually actively compete with China. Just like in the Cold War when we competed with the USSR for the space race, I just wish that the American government, if they were going to do a Cold War again, which we are doing already, I just wish that we would compete with China, not by taking on more restrictive and more censorious approaches that exist in China and competing with them on that front, on the surveillance state front. Instead, compete with them on, you know, bullet trains, robust infrastructure projects. It's very frustrating. We take none of the good and all the bad. Without the work that China nonprofits do, it would be much harder to show that China's governance model is deeply flawed if we can no longer prove that. Yeah, I mean, she's basically saying, like, we can't shit on China effectively if USA doesn't fund a lot of our NGOs and whatnot. Do you believe that the shift to the extremely right-wing politics and economics could open the door to swing in the opposite direction? Democrats seem to be trying to get closer to center, which may kill an opportunity for more social safety nets and future admins. Yeah, I don't think that the Democratic Party is going to direct us out of this problem. I don't think that they're going to guide us or lead us out of this problem, if I'm being super real with you. Unfortunately. Yeah, they want to do stuff like this. Why don't you ever debate with Asmongold? He thinks all immigrants should get kicked out, even the good, hardworking immigrants. Hashtag DACA. I would be down to do that. I have no issues. I have debated Asmongold in the past, and of course, I will. I'd be down to debate him in the future. If he wants to do that, he can hit me up, you know? Anyway, I think it's because of how fast China grew that America couldn't catch up. Law needed excuses after that. My God, now that you think USAID was sending money to Jeffrey Epstein, not realizing that it's a different Jeffrey Epstein, we're honestly in parody mode. Yeah, this is insane, dude. The Kaiser Foundation Health Plan Incorporated gave $265,000 to Jeffrey Epstein, who was a director at Kaiser Permanente. Jeffrey Epstein, unfortunately, is a very common name. Okay, it's an unfortunate one, but it's a common one. What are we doing? What do you think is more likely, that they actually were actively giving money to this guy, or do they think that it was actually, Jeffrey Epstein who passed away and they're still giving him money, not realizing that it's a totally separate person? Yeah, this is literally an SNL skit. Harvey Epstein, who was also a real guy, or was the guy's name also Jeffrey Epstein, or it was Harvey Epstein, right? Harvey Epstein for city council. Anyway, yeah, here it is.
It's true what they say. New York City does not sleep.
Or Jeffrey Weinstein.
Why we need a city council that reflects who we are. Tough, resilient, and ready to lend a helping hand. It's why we need Harvey Epstein.
Who was apparently a real dude, which is crazy. Anyway, there it is. Doge telling NOAA to reduce the staff by 50% and funding the agency to 30%. They weren't auditing the weather career field. They're slashing it. They're likely going to go after NWS next. Also, where is it? There was another thing. They're trying to slash the CDC, which is also ridiculous. It's just terrifying stuff, okay? These are all of the... It's ironic because, like, these are the things that are good about the federal government. These are the good things. These are the good things about the federal government. And it's very frustrating that they're taking away all of the things that make this country run, okay? Oh, did you even unpack yet, bruh? No.
Agencies are being targeted, including the intelligence community. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott tracking it all from the White House. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning. And millions of federal employees have just hours to respond to their buyout offers. They are faced with a choice whether to resign now or run the risk of being fired. The deadline tonight. It's decision day for millions of federal employees. At least 40,000 already taking the buyout offer to resign now with several months of pay. And this morning, many intelligence workers faced with that same deadline too, to quit now or possibly be laid off in the future. To comply with the review of the federal workforce, the CIA emailed a list.
Yeah, accurate weather forecasting could be said to benefit the economy by at least billions, not trillions. Yeah, and also, accurate weather forecasting that you see and consume as a regular citizen is only the tip of the iceberg, okay? That the NOAA offers. Like, this is massively consequential, okay? Your weather app on your phone would not work if it wasn't for the weather service that the government offers, the government provides. Every part of commerce relies on this, okay? Flight in its entirety relies on this. So the idea that we're cutting this, or rather even more nefarious than simply cutting it, okay? Cutting it and then privatizing this service, because that's what I think that's what I think they want to do. They want to turn the NOAA into like a SpaceX style service provider and have one guy make trillions of fucking dollars to offer this service that is currently being given to everybody that the federal government provides. They want to take it and privatize it. They want one guy to own it. Do you know how much money you could make if you are the guy tasked with figuring out what the fuck's going on with the weather and the government is not offering this as a service? The opportunities are endless. The opportunities for profit are endless, okay? Sorry, your subscription for tornado warnings ran out. So, unfortunately, your pilots are going to be flying blind today, okay? We have paywalled the weather service, so we can't track what's going to happen. Who knows? I work as a grid operator and we rely on NOAA publicly available data to keep the power on. Yeah, every aspect of this, every aspect of commerce, every aspect of industry utilizes the NOAA's National Weather Service. Okay? I don't know how to explain to you how important this is. Like, it's insane. And it's not just like climate change research or woke stuff. I'm talking directly one of the invisible ways in which the federal government is making your lives better. Okay? It's crazy to try and ruin the service and then sell it off to someone who will be able to paywall it. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, Adam Conover did an Obama-produced show on Netflix called The G Word. And I think it's a really good show overall that touches on exactly what I'm talking about, the invisible ways in which the federal government works and these agencies work that we rely on in our day-to-day experiences. It's a thankless job in general, okay?
List of new employees to the White House.
Anyway, the U.S. intelligence workers getting buyout offers, except a judge put a pause on this, so don't worry. As a federal work in a science agency, government data has multiple quality controls to ensure accuracy and safety on data usage. Yeah, there's also the shittier product that will be available if privatized. There's that too.
Over a non-classified system. That list included the first names and last initial of employees hired in the last 2 years. But now it has prompted fear and concern that those intelligence officers could be at risk.
We go to great lengths to protect the cover for CIA officers. And if all of that can be destroyed.
I'm a DACA recipient, have studied and worked hard and contributed to the economy, never associated with crime and gang. In your opinion, should I be deported? The hell? No, dude. What are you talking about? How does someone find my Twitch account and not know, like, this is the most basic thing? No. I'm a massive advocate for immigration in general. Like DACA is, again, the tip of the iceberg, a profoundly popular program, and is still endlessly restrictive for no reason. I'm not even talking about DACA though. I think the overwhelming majority of undocumented migrants that have been working on U.S. soil for the past decade plus should immediately be offered amnesty. Like DACA, what do you mean? That's yesterday. You asked me what to do with DACA. It's like, yeah, citizenship now. Citizenship years ago. That's crazy. DACA is unfair and insanely restrictive already. I know people on DACA. They can't even leave the country. It's ridiculous. Here, let's finish this. Oh my God, I'm all over the place today. Sorry.
Reckless, malicious sending of an email that blows our cover and makes us much more vulnerable.
Federal employees received those buyout offers with an email titled "A Fork in the Road," the same subject line billionaire Elon Musk sent to Twitter employees when he took over the company in 2022. Democrats warning employees should proceed with caution, on Capitol Hill sounding the alarm about Musk and his massive reach into the federal government.
I move that the committee subpoena Elon Musk to come before it as a witness at the earliest possible moment.
The hearing quickly turning into a shouting match.
Yes, let's have order in this country.
Stansbury, you're out of order. You know you're out of order. You know the rules of this committee. There's been a motion.
Mr. Elon Musk is out of order and dismantled.
He's out of order. God.
Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency only digging deeper into federal agencies, from the humanitarian agency USAID to the Department of Education to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, the government's health care programs vital to 160 million Americans. And at Treasury, more Musk's team gain access to the department's payment system, which includes the personal information of millions of Americans. Overnight, the Department of Justice only agreed to allow 2 special government employees with ties to Musk to see that sensitive data. One is the former chief executive of a Silicon Valley tech company, and the other is a 25-year-old engineer who worked for X and SpaceX, 2 companies Musk owns. The White House says Musk is working hand in hand with the president.
The 2 of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers.
President Trump's push to shrink the federal government has prompted confusion, with some programs caught in the middle. Even though a judge blocked the president's freeze on federal grants, some Head Start programs providing daycare for low-income children are still shut out of payments nearly a week later.
These are the most vulnerable people in our society. These are low-income 3- and 4-year-olds that are just looking for an opportunity to be ready for school and hopefully have a chance for a better life.
And the Trump administration is facing a slew of legal challenges this morning. So yesterday we saw a federal judge block the president's executive order on birthright citizenship. Today, a different judge will weigh the future of these buyout offers that are being spread across the federal government. And then also we reported on the FBI turning over a list of agents who worked on January 6th related cases to the Department of Justice. Well, we do know that some of those FBI agents sued, saying that they are now being targeted by their own department. There is a hearing in that case today, George.
On that front as well, the Attorney General Pam Bondi at her confirmation hearing said she would not use her office to target Trump's political opponents. She appears to be going back on that promise.
Yeah, George, just hours after Pam Bondi was sworn in as Attorney General, she launched the Weaponization Working Group that is going to review what she calls politicized actions of people who have investigated President Donald Trump at both a state and also a federal level. But Democrats quick to point out that it was Bondi during her confirmation hearing saying that no one would be politically prosecuted simply because they are opponent of President Trump.
We are following breaking news. A judge has just paused tonight's
Boom, that was quick. Well, I guess it wasn't quick, but
midnight deadline for federal employees to decide whether to take President Trump's so-called buyout. The deal would mean that they quit their jobs and hope to be paid through September or risk getting laid off anyway. It's part of the Trump administration's aggressive push to shrink the government. And at the center of it all is Elon Musk. Over the past 3 weeks or so, we have watched the world's richest man threaten massive job cuts across several agencies, from the Treasury to the U.S. Agency for International Development and the CIA, just to name a few. Next, he could come swinging for the Department of Education and the Environmental Protection Agency, and we'll have more on that in a moment. First, though, let's turn to CNN's Jeff Zeleny, who is live for us at the White House. Jeff, walk us through the judge's decision. It's a big one, and are you hearing anything from the administration in response?
Well, Brianna, we were about 10 hours or so away from that midnight deadline where federal employees would have been able to accept this offer to essentially not return to work and be paid through September if they would not like to participate in the return to office program. But that is all now on hold. As you said, a federal judge in Massachusetts putting the deadline on hold pending oral arguments on Monday. So for now, at least, this is in suspension mode. This is what we've seen from several executive orders the president has signed. A judge steps in and, excuse me, puts a bit of a pause on this. So far, the White House has not reacted to this ruling. We are expected to hear from the president later. I'm sure he will have words to say on this. But at the heart of this is how some federal workers believe they're actually being respected or not in the case of this order. The White House press secretary just a short time ago had this to say about this offer.
We encourage federal workers in this city to accept the very generous offer. If they don't want to show up to the office, if they want to rip the American people off, then they're welcome to take this buyout, and we'll find highly competent individuals who want to fill these roles.
Her words there, if they want to rip the American people off. Who she's talking about there is the federal workforce, from the CIA to the FBI to the FAA, actual people behind these offers. And just because people may be working from home or off-site does not mean, of course, that they're ripping people off. But if you look at some of these factors now that are going into this, an email was sent out overnight giving employees one more chance to sign up for all of this, and they're really trying to make the case here that it's good for them. But the three federal unions that brought this suit are arguing and have been instructing workers to be very careful about this buyout offer because they say there are no guarantees at all for any of this. So for now, at least, Brianna, this is on hold until Monday, pending oral arguments. Again, no immediate comment from the White House. We've checked, and they've not gotten back to us. Brianna?
All right, we'll wait to see what they do say. Jeff Zeleny live for us at the White House. Thank you. Boris?
Federal employees at the EPA's Environmental Justice and Civil Rights Office have been told they could be put on leave in the coming days. They were told at an all-staff meeting the change would be part of President Trump's order ending all DEI initiatives. CNN's Renee Marsh is going to break this down for us. Renee, the Trump administration has already closed the EPA's DEI office. So what does the Environmental Justice Office do, and how many workers could be impacted?
Right, so this is an
Dude, we're literally never going to get free healthcare in this goddamn country. How about any healthcare? We're not even going to get like proper pandemic response. We're not even going to have food that is safe to consume. This is not me this is not me being hyperbolic at all. That is what these agencies are tasked with doing. Okay? Regulating drugs, like making sure that drugs are safe to consume so they don't kill you, that they actually do what they're tasked with doing, making sure that your water supply is clean. These are the things. These are the things that are going away, chat. EU perspective, you guys are fucked. Dude, everything that happens to us will always happen to you as well. This is something that I have warned my European chatters about quite a bit. What's going on here, it will inevitably happen there as well. Something that you guys have to understand. It doesn't just stay here. It's coming for you too. I'm not saying this as like, I'm not saying this to threaten you or anything like that, or to freak you out, or to gloat or anything like that. I'm saying this as a warning, okay? That is how, look at Elon Musk. He's already actively working to ruin European countries and actively involving himself in European political affairs as well. And it already has been happening through the same exact capitalist interests, undermining the regulatory agencies in perpetuity. That's it. The EU is just America on a 10-year delay. They have their Trumps pop up everywhere now. Yeah. Aren't we just watching the first step of Project 2025? Yes. But as I've stated before, Project 2025 didn't happen overnight. It's been happening. It happened in the last Trump administration, and we're there already. And we're going to continue. Going down this trajectory.
Office, it's the Environmental Justice as well as the External Civil Rights Office. And these are individuals who are making sure that grants, policies are keeping in mind that there are certain communities that could be facing disproportionate impacts from things like climate change and pollution, and making sure that federal funding and programs are equitably distributed so that they can prepare themselves, make sustainability plans for their communities, as well as resilience for their communities. So that's at the heart of the work that they do there. But the Trump administration sees work like this as an extension of DEI. However, many of the employees I speak to don't view themselves as DEI employees. They actually see that this is work that's being done to make sure that all communities have access to the resources to protect themselves from things like pollution and climate change. So back to what we're learning, many of the staffers within this office and division of the EPA are literally on pins and needles, waiting to hear that they too would be put on paid administrative leave. And this comes after that meeting that you mentioned, in which they essentially said that we plan on enforcing.
Dude, stop using Twitter chat and HasanAbi is so funny. That's your takeaway from this process, is that like Elon Musk will undermine Elon Musk this way. Brother, sister, NBs, there is no decipherable, discernible, significant way that you can avoid products that billionaires purchase and own and control, okay? As long as Twitter is a primary source of communication for other journalists, I will continue using it. Okay? That's it. It's not like the top of the hour ad break that you can avoid by subscribing for $6 or for free. Okay? That's not how that works. Just kidding. I'm not running ad breaks. You got double debated. Now, I want to briefly show you guys the new glasses that I got in Japan. I got to put some optics in it. It's called Ivon. Japanese glasses are crazy. They go nutty mode. These don't have, these are just the frames so far, but wait, oh, this is one of them, and here's the other one, and then this is the other one. Fake glasses wearer, Pago, yeah, and then this is the other one. Same, but in tortoise shell. Tortoise. The brand is a Japanese brand called Ivon, which is funny because Hayvan means animal in Turkish, and in Arabic too, I think. I gotta give these to my mom. And then I got another, I got some secondhand thrifted glasses too. Are they pricey? Yes. The Ivon ones were pricey. The thrifted ones were not. Your under eyes look a little puffy. You good, dog? No, obviously I'm not good. I just got off the plane from Japan and instantly started. Hey, Sean Raid. Sean the Black. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. Hope all is well. We are watching the collapse of American society. Sean had his biggest stream today, 3K viewers. Let's go. Nice. Respect.
Enforcing the president's directive through his executive order to dismantle programs like this. And so what does that mean? I mean, his executive order very clearly states that offices focused on environmental justice should be terminated. So employees got that word yesterday. Fast forward to today, I've not received any messages from anyone saying that they've been placed on leave, but they said that they are expecting that this will happen in the coming days. And of course, Boris, this is just one of many agencies in which we have seen this.
Yeah, apparently DOJ looking at every single agency across the U.S. government. Renee Marsh, thanks so much for the update. Brianna?
And with us now is Democratic Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury. She is the top Democrat on the Oversight Committee's DOJ subcommittee, which is a mouthful. Congresswoman, thank you so much for being with us. And you and a number of other Democrats showed up at Treasury a couple days ago after we had learned that Elon Musk's DOJ effort had gained access to their payment machine, which was a big deal. Was it, though, just a show of opposition? Were you able to achieve something?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to observe that even a federal court judge today agreed that Elon Musk is breaking the law. Whether that's trying to fire federal officials, they're freezing federal funds, they're stealing our data at Treasury. And so over 24 members of Congress in both the House and the Senate showed up. We requested access to...
Oh, you hate how it's called Doge? Yeah, me too. The fact that it's like such a juvenile... It's not even a juvenile. It's like a boomer joke. The fact that it's such a goddamn boomer joke that people are running with, it's like 9gag humor. I hate it. Reddit ass country. Honestly, even Reddit is turning on Elon Musk, so it's no longer. It's worse than that. It's worse than Reddit. It's 9gag shit. It's like iFunny memes. It's stuff that your boomer divorced parents share with one another for ha-has. It's so lame. It's a Twitter joke, which is the new Facebook joke. Like Doge's what? Peak 2014 comedy. Yeah.
Meet with the Secretary of...
I'm not going to leak the email, but I just got a nasty email saying, as per the executive orders, we have disabled the ability to display your pronouns in Teams and Outlook. We're so fuck law. Yeah, it's just like, it's dumb things like that they're doing just to prove a point, I guess. That's what they're doing. They're proving a point. They're targeting woke, which is gender pronouns.
The Treasury, and to discuss what's going on and to find out from both politicals and senior officials what data they have access to. When we got there, we met with the Secret Service who was guarding the area, and basically we were told that the politicals had been informed we were there, and they left us standing outside. And so there were probably thousands of people in the streets. The American people are marching in every major city right now, demanding that Elon Musk be held accountable. And so our responsibility as members of Congress is to show up, to conduct oversight. We were there to perform oversight over the Secretary and the Doge team, and we were denied access. So that's why we were there.
And so you don't have this lever really of lawsuits because Democrats are not in control of Congress. But there are outside lawsuits, and as you mentioned, and we just covered, you're now seeing stuff move through the courts. It is a slower process, certainly, than the swift process that we see Elon Musk and his Doge associates sweeping through the government with. So do you have confidence that the court system can respond in the manner and with the speed that it needs to in order to address concerns that you have?
I mean, right now, it's the tool that we have to stop them in their tracks. If you look at what happened last week, illegally, the White House froze funds for literally thousands of entities across the country. They tried to lock states out of the Medicaid system. And within 24 hours, we went to the courts, the state attorney generals went to the courts, and 2 different federal judges said, this is illegal. We're going to put a pause on this. We now have this with the federal employees. We now have this with the Treasury Department. The courts is the tool right now because Republicans control not only the House and the Senate, but the White House as well. And so, if you watch the Oversight Committee yesterday, they've completely abdicated any oversight on the Republican side of the aisle. In fact, when we tried to invite Elon Musk to come appear in front of the committee, they denied our request. And then we tried to subpoena him yesterday. And when we tried to hold
Champagne Cyclist, think of it 10 tier 1, give the subs.
Them to account, all hell broke out in the committee because they have zero interest in performing oversight.
Well, part of it didn't work out because that was a surprise move, right, to subpoena Elon Musk. But there were actually a couple Democrats who were critical to the effort who didn't show up. They missed the vote, insisting that they wanted to be there, but it was something that was organized pretty quickly. You told this to Kristen Welker in December. I want to listen to this.
I don't know how that happens. Aren't you so glad Obama let Mitch McConnell block all of his judicial appointments so Trump was able to make them? Yeah. No. I do not think history will be kind to the Democratic Party, and they shouldn't be. Every step of this process for the past couple decades, the Democratic Party was so incompetent in dealing with an increasingly militant, increasingly more reactionary Republican Party, and they completely dropped the ball to a degree that makes even someone like myself consider them to be the controlled opposition party, deliberately failing so that the Republicans can dominate. History might not be kind to the Democrats because Republicans will just completely dominate in perpetuity, or it might not be kind to the Democrats because the Republicans do end up, going full tilt fascism and then losing control, or the inevitable collapse that takes place because the contradictions are far too severe for fascism to continue. And then we'll still do an autopsy on what took place and how we got to this point. John Stewart, no, I think the Gaza ownership thing is more nefarious. The Gaza ownership conversation is just also classic Trump, which is saying the quiet part out loud. Democrats would never make the mistake of openly stating that they have a desire to do mass ethnic displacement. They would relegate that to the backroom dealings. They would talk about it behind the scenes, try to urge Egypt to open up the floodgates and move Palestinians into the Sinai Peninsula. That was the reason why I said in my 2024 predictions that that was what was going to happen. Okay? And lo and behold, yes, they did actually actively try to do that, urge Egypt and other and other states like Jordan to make preparations to do mass ethnic displacement of Palestinians. Just so you know, before all of the liberals that freak out and say, "Oh, well, Trump is doing this. Trump is doing this." Like, what now? Yeah, this is something that apparently the Biden administration also quietly pushed for as well. The difference between Trump and Biden, on the other hand, is that Trump says the quiet part out loud. He takes the maximalist position openly. Okay? Whether it will actually happen is an entirely separate conversation. I mean, this is something that even Benjamin Netanyahu, unironically, actively praised. Benjamin Netanyahu actively praised this when he said, Donald Trump is so good because he says things others are too afraid to say. This is also something that this is make no mistake, this is a logical extension of the past 16 months under the Biden administration, where there was so much death and destruction. When Donald Trump says, when Donald Trump says, "Oh, Gaza is filled to the brim with rubble, we have to clear it out and rebuild," who actually destroyed Gaza? Israel did. Who actually allowed Israel to destroy Gaza? Biden did. Okay? That didn't happen as a natural disaster. So just remember that. When I say there is no indication, for example, that the previous administration or even Kamala Harris would be that much different, even though, yes, history has shown that while foreign policy is uniparty, the only difference is that the Trump administration or Republicans will oftentimes extend and take it even further right, and then Democrats refuse to fix it. Okay? This is what I mean. The diplomat said, here it is, Egypt rejected similar proposals from the Biden administration and European countries early in the war, which was sparked by Hamas' October 7, 2023 attack in the southern Israel. The earlier proposals were broached privately while Trump announced his plan at a White House press conference alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Do you understand? So it's interesting hearing from people that European leaders, for example, that actively defended the Biden administration, that actively defended Israel's death and destruction in Gaza, only now to turn around and say, "Oh, Trump is saying the final solution. He's advocating for ethnic cleansing. That's unacceptable. We cannot do mass displacement. That is a violation of international humanitarian laws." It's like, yeah? So 16 months of unlimited genocide wasn't a violation? It's only a violation now that Trump is saying it? That's it. That's the major difference. Democrats try to manufacture consent surrounding the issues that they advocate for. Even if they fail, they still try to do it. And they try to do destabilization in a more covert fashion. Republicans, especially nowadays, do not care about being covert. They will do it openly. They will celebrate the brutality.
Prime Minister Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani is due to meet with U.S. Middle East envoys.
What exactly is your point, though? The Democrats are not in power. Biden is not the president. He was not even running by the time the election happened. So, like, what is your point? I get it. It was bad, but you're doing, like, nothing to help anything? Wait, what? No, this is simply addressing something that's very important that people have to contend with, because a lot of liberals think that this is not a uniparty process, especially foreign policy. And they think like, oh, what now, pro-Palestine protesters? Like, you did this. This is what you wanted. You're getting what you wanted. When most of the pro-Palestinian advocacy came from the understandable fears they had towards a Trump administration, moving the needle even further in terms of genocide, death, and destruction, and therefore urging the Biden administration and the Kamala Harris campaign to take a strong stance against Israel to stop the bleeding. Okay? That's it. So at this stage, if you're looking at lesser evil harm reduction arguments around what's more harmful, mass ethnic displacement campaign, forcibly moving Palestinians out of their ancestral lands, or what's worse, death and destruction in a mass bombing campaign that destroys all structures that are standing in Gaza, that is an insane conversation to be having. Okay? We've already completely lost the plot. If that is the boundaries, that's the moral conundrum that we have in front of us, that is what we're arguing on behalf of.
Steve Witkoff in Florida later on Thursday. The meeting comes ahead of the next exchange of Israeli captives for Palestinian prisoners as part of the Gaza ceasefire deal, which is expected on Saturday. Let's take this on with Rami Khoury, who's a distinguished public policy fellow at the American University of Beirut, joins us now from Boston in the United States, in fact. So, Rami, first up, what's your sense of this conversation that's going to be had between the Qatari Prime Minister and Steve Witkoff? It would be interesting to be a fly on the wall in the light of what President Trump has been saying.
Oh, absolutely. It's a critical relationship. Qatar has proved to be, with Egypt, essential to get the process moving to the point where we are now, starting the second phase of the negotiations, which would ultimately get the Israelis out of Gaza, all hostages and prisoners released, and the end of the war. So the problem is that the Qatari position is clear, the Egyptian position is clear, the Hamas position is quite clear, but the Israeli position and the American position are like a kaleidoscope. They keep moving around and new ideas are presented. There are huge internal debates within Israel that keep throwing obstacles into the way of the process. Netanyahu's legal fate is on the line. He has to go to court. He may go to jail. So there are lots of moving parts that are not clear what the implications are. And the latest is, of course, Trump's proposal to get the Palestinians out of Gaza, which already is being walked back by his senior officials, his foreign minister, his Middle East envoy, his press secretary. They're all kind of walking back saying, oh, this is temporary. Not by him, because he doesn't really have a clear idea of what he's talking about. He's a showman. He does drama, he does disruption, and he does disillusion. And he's really a delusion. He's really done all of these in this proposal. It's kind of make-believe. It's not going to work. Very few people in the world want it. Most governments have opposed it. So what he says gets the discussion moving. The real question that nobody has answered yet, there's lots of speculation, both here in the U.S. and in the Middle East, is, well, what is his ultimate aim? Most people, I feel from my discussions and following this, most people tend to feel that what he's trying to do is put out there an outrageous proposition that he knows is not feasible, but he wants it to soften the Saudi position on normalization with Israel. This is the big prize that the U.S. under Biden and now under Trump, that they've always looked for. They want to get Saudi Arabia and Israel to have normal diplomatic relations, feeling that this would open the door to all the other Arab countries following suit. And the Saudis have actually taken a harder line position after the Trump proposal. So these are incredibly important discussions. They're going to focus narrowly on the discussions in Florida today, are going to focus on the negotiations to release the hostages and the Palestinian prisoners.
And are you on that? Are you, and the ceasefire in general, are you fearful now, given what's being said by the president, of the ceasefire deal as a whole?
No, I don't put a lot of emphasis on what Trump says. He says all kinds of things. He changes his mind. He clarifies. He denies. So he's not a reliable source, as the news business people say, though he is president of the United States. So what he says has to be considered seriously, but it should not be taken as a clear path towards a policy. It has other motives, some business, some personal.
Okay, I'm back, I think. Am I back? I'm so annoyed. Oh my God. The entire city block went out and then came back. Electricity went out for everyone and then came back. Great stuff. Great stuff for LA infrastructure. Love living in this third world nation, developing nation. This young upstart, young up and coming nation, you know? All that woke DEI gets taken out, all of a sudden, look where we're at, you know? Anyway, hold on. I'm going to try to find where I was at. I had to turn off. Everything turned off and then turned on again. Oh. Welcome back to NA infrastructure. It's LA infrastructure that's like worse than NA infrastructure. It's a totally different demon, totally different beast. Click the 3 dots on the upper right corner. Should be an option to reopen all tabs. No. Here. We're going to finish that Al Jazeera video, yes. Hold on. Okay. I got it. I'm doing all of it. Hold on. I love this. It's fantastic. Nothing weird about the way that this our infrastructure operates, our infrastructure works. Nothing weird about it at all. Perfectly normal, perfectly healthy, functioning society. Dude, I need to say this, with a new camera setup and set looks insanely good. Thank you. Weren't you just talking about how you have backup generators? Yeah, but they're currently not connected, ironically enough, because of the previous issue that happened. So you expect to get culture shock when you go to another country that you haven't been in before or for a while, less so you come home? Yeah. All right. You're doing everything you can. It's okay. Yeah. Where were we? Where did we leave off? Like here, I think. Wait, what the hell is... Okay. Battery backup plus solar is goated, by the way. Yeah, I know.
Well, what is his ultimate aim? Most people, I feel from my discussions and following...
Invest in a UPS as a battery backup? Oh, dude, no way. I didn't realize. Thank you. Dog, I have 2 generators and a UPS. Okay? I have it. The problem is that I was knocked off of it this morning, so I had to literally turn around and jerry-rig a contraption, a separate power source, while my actual... Unc, you're just not tech savvy. Y'all are fucking stupid, okay? This is one of the areas where I am tech savvy. God damn it, dude. Don't piss me off on this. No, I literally do have 2 generators and also a backup battery as well. The issue, on the other hand, right now is that they have no juice. So they're currently charging, and I had to jerry-rig a separate outlet off of the generators. Anyway, let's continue.
This, most people tend to feel that what he's trying to do is put out there an outrageous proposition that he knows is not feasible, but he wants it to soften the Saudi position on normalization with Israel. This is the big prize that the U.S. under Biden and now under Trump, that they've always looked for. They want to get Saudi Arabia and Israel to have normal diplomatic relations, feeling that this would open the door to all the other Arab countries following suit. And the Saudis have actually taken a harder line position after the Trump proposal.
They have these 300H LiPo batteries you can chain twice. I have industrial grade battery generators.
So these are incredibly important discussions. That they're going to focus narrowly on the discussions in Florida today are going to focus on the negotiations to release the hostages and the Palestinian prisoners.
And are you on that? Are you, and the ceasefire in general, are you fearful now, given what's being said by the president about the efficacy, the solidity of the ceasefire deal as a whole?
No, I don't put a lot of emphasis on what Trump says. He says all kinds of things. He changes his mind. He clarifies. He denies. So he's not a reliable source, as the news business people say, though he is president of the United States. So what he says has to be considered seriously, but it should not be taken as a clear path towards a policy. It has other motives, some business, some personal, some family relationships, some investment opportunities, and then cajoling people on both sides, pressuring people. So it's a fascinating study and sort of kaleidoscopic diplomacy. You know, a kaleidoscope, when you turn it, all the pieces move and then a new situation comes about. So I think that we have to let the process play itself out, focus on the negotiations, the second phase that's supposed to start, everybody, and I mean everybody, wants the Israeli hostages released and the Palestinian prisoners released, and the ceasefire to be permanent, and the Israelis to get out of Gaza.
Okay, well, the exchange is due again for this weekend, isn't it? You could argue, perhaps, finally, Rami, you could argue perhaps that in a way he's made the world more aware of what Israel has done in Gaza.
Oh, absolutely, including American officials going to visit. And I'm hoping the media, the global media, will be able to go soon, even though many of them, including Jazeera and others, have Gazan journalists who are sending out reports. So yes, and this is what the Israelis desperately want to stop. They want to stop two things. They want to stop the world seeing what Israel does militarily and, with prisoners and all the terrible things it does. And that's why it's so widely discussed now in terms of both apartheid and genocide. And it wants to stop any discussion of the historical background to the situation in Gaza, the Palestine-Zionism conflict, the Arab-Israeli conflict. It wants desperately to prevent any historical analysis. And it's increasingly unsuccessful in doing that because more and more people are going to the Middle East, they see now the West Bank, what's going on. Therefore, the trend for the Israelis is not good. They've lost their ability to completely dominate the narrative of the Arab-Israeli conflict and the Palestinian people in the West, in the media, and in officialdom. So it's quite extraordinary. I'm reading now the book, amazing book by Ilan Pappé, the Israeli historian, on the history of Zionist lobbying in the West, in England and the US. It's a 450-page monster, but it is the most amazing analysis based on total historical factual truths about how Israel has succeeded in doing what it's done, which is create a Jewish majority state in a Palestinian land that in 1920 was 93% Arab, including my family, Nazareth. So this is what they're trying to prevent, the Israelis, any discussion of this, and they're slowly losing control of this narrative.
All right, Rami, thanks for that. Rami Khoury speaking to us there from the United States, from Boston.
CBS News is seeing firsthand how U.S. humanitarian.
Yeah, RFK Jr. putting methylene blue in his water for flying his prime were so bad. Methylene blue while flying mitigates any radiation burden, protects against oxidative stress, antiviral so you don't catch a cold, boosts autophagy if fasting on flight. If also that dose I don't recommend, but he's spearheading a movement, so I get it. I don't know what this does, but whenever I see RFK doing something, I assume it's probably bad. This is probably methylene blue, which was originally an industrial dye, but is shown to be biologically active and was used in effective early malaria treatment. We know that at the wrong doses, it's neurotoxic, but there are worm and mouse studies that small doses could have small positive effects on memory and longevity. There have been a couple small human studies that have shown small effects and others that have shown no effect. This is true of many compounds that turn out to have no or negative effect on human biology. It has become a meme supplement with lots of exaggerated claims in the pseudo-health space. There is no robust research that it has positive impacts on people, which makes it sound like, well, it might, and yeah, it might, but like anything might. And if we don't know it works at all, definitely don't know that the dose is effective and safe, which does make the eyedroppers full of it concerning. The point is we don't know, and RFK Jr. very clearly prefers vibes to methods of science. Good stuff overall. Also, dying prematurely in car accidents also prevents cancer. True. That is true. A very effective way to end all medical problems is to just die. Everybody knows you can't have additional medical issues if you simply die, forehead. I have to use this stuff in experiments. Use gloves when I use it, lol. This is part of the reason why I've also maintained the position that RFK Jr. will probably die in a very mysterious way where, I mean, in an expected way, but in a mysterious one where it'll take a long time to figure out exactly what did him in, because there are numerous different factors at play. When it ends up happening, people will, like, the field of medicine will have a field day. All right.
First,
AOC is mocked after calling Elon Musk one of the most unintelligent billionaires I've ever met.
and foremost,
Mocked by who? The New York Post readership.
understand that there is already in a federal agency who is a watchdog on waste in the United States. That is known as the government.
You realize this liquid is normal, right? You like to make a big song and dance about small things like that. I mean, it's at most an unnecessary risk that you're taking on, and at best, it might have marginal benefits. You're just eating dye, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, can I not just say it's stupid to eat dye, industrial blue dye? Like, is that where we're at now? I can't even say it's fucking stupid. I have to sit here and be like, no, that's actually brilliant. Like, what is going on, man? Yeah, no, I think it's stupid to drink dye, okay? It's especially stupid when you've made an effort to consistently talk about how dangerous shit like this is, okay? And yes, there are a lot of chemicals and stuff like this that I drink. But you want to know what the difference is in stuff like this that I drink versus industrial blue dye? One has a tremendous amount of research, okay, that shows that it is fine to consume. Ironically enough, the blue dye people then also regularly look to the research to claim it's actually much more dangerous. Yes, it is dangerous if you consume it in unimaginably high quantities, okay? But so is everything. That Chatter's PFP, yeah. Chatter came in hot, being like, excuse me, you make a mountain out of a molehill with stuff like this. I'm not. Also, you are not the Secretary of Health and Human Services, so it doesn't even matter what you do in regards to this. Like, this was something that people didn't understand about ivermectin, where people just consistently were yelling at the wrong things in defense of ivermectin. People were not saying ivermectin is not, effective in treating certain diseases or certain parasites specifically, okay? Or that humans can't consume ivermectin, okay? Its most common usage is in horses, is a horse dewormer, and that's why many people were purchasing it from places where you get horse dewormer, and we're using the horse quantities, the medicine specifically designed for horses, okay? Horses are much larger animals, so there's obviously an issue there. Anyway, yeah, people were sucking down on horse paste, but even that wasn't the actual issue here. The actual issue was that there was a false sense of security placed upon ivermectin as ivermectin is the savior, when the actual creators of ivermectin kept saying that there is no evidence that this actually helps with COVID. No evidence whatsoever. And those guys have all the opportunity to lie and say it has a tremendous benefits for COVID. They would make a lot of money off of shilling ivermectin if it actually prevented or treated COVID. Never forget when Joe Rogan got COVID, threw the kitchen sink at it instead of the vaccine, literally turned gray. Yeah.
Accountability office. So all of these people acting like, oh, we're going to set up an agency to identify waste, as though that's never been an idea before. Like, take a number. These people, and I can tell you, in my experience, I have encountered many billionaires in my career. You all have seen many of those encounters in hearings, in other, forms of questioning, etc. I can tell you that this
Joe Rogan turning gray was a filter CNN used. No, dog. What do you mean? It was from his Instagram. I watched his actual Instagram. I didn't watch the CNN coverage.
Dude
initially
is probably one of the most unintelligent.
It's understandable that he looked like shit. He had COVID, dude. What are you talking about?
Billionaires I have ever met or seen are witness.
Methylene blue is literally a fucking medication, not a dye unless chemical infused. Do the math. It's not that hard. Why did you come in? Oh, God. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. Look at this. It's just not even loading shit. It's so goddamn annoying. Oh, my Lord. What is happening? Is this a Twitch-related problem, or is this just my computer? I can't tell. Just you? Okay. Hoping that this will fix the issue. Nope. Failed to load module. Clear cache. How do you clear the cache? Is it in settings? Go to browser history. No, I don't want to delete my browsing data. I don't want to get logged out of a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Control H, delete browsing data. Browsing history, time range, last hour. Okay, that's good. Okay. Let's see if this worked. Oh, it did work. I think. Oh, thank God. It worked. Okay, one less problem to freaking worry about. Why did that even happen? Why was that even an issue to begin with? It's so annoying. Okay. Oh. Anyway, where was that chatter? What was I looking at with that chatter? Oh, what I was going to say is chatter came in hot, initially making it seem as though he just simply had a problem, or that I made a big issue about this stuff, only to then turn around and be like, no, it's just medication. At least RFK doesn't steal from pharmaceutical companies. Like, why? I don't understand. I don't understand how people get to this place in their minds. Dominate the narrative. At least RFK doesn't steal from pharmaceutical companies. RFK hasn't stole from pharmaceutical companies to fund his campaign, unlike geriatric Bernie. Yeah, Bernie Sanders stealing from pharmaceutical companies to fund his campaign. Again, another chatter that is duped by Ian Miles Chong. Bernie Sanders has never received PAC money. As a matter of fact, the people that work at pharmaceutical companies, like the fucking janitor, has donated to his campaign in small dollar donations. The combination of those small dollar donations is what you saw on an Ian Miles Chong post, Ian Miles wrong post, and you turned around and thought, oh, we got him, boys. Bernie's making money off the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah, I love that. What is happening to my goddamn internet, dude? What is this? What the fuck is this? I can't. This is my issue, right? This is a me problem. This is not like I've never actually seen this before. Control Shift R. Try restarting browser. I did that already. Yeah, Control Shift R worked, which is crazy. Everything is garbanzo, dude. Everything is garbage. Everything is broken. Right-wing populists have completely lost the plot as to who the enemy is. Elizabeth Warren does not take any money from healthcare or any lobbyists or CEOs. Look at the average donation. CEOs don't give $30 increments. Use your brains, people. If 10,000 nurses give you small contributions, that doesn't mean you're in the pocket of big pharma. Look.
I don't know if you saw this, but Elizabeth Warren got confronted, and it's on Twitter this morning. She got confronted about the amount of money that she's received from pharmaceutical drug companies. She said she's never received any money from pharmaceutical drug companies and never received any monies from any PACs. And then, of course, underneath it, community.
I'm glad you're covering this very niche stuff. It's not even niche. The problem is it's not niche, okay? It's actually out in the open. A lot of people think this way now. And a lot of people get their notes off of Twitter. It is no longer a niche, like conspiratorial-minded attitude that people have. Okay? Fuck Joe Rogan. All right, well, we have a pro-RFK guy who thinks Bernie is taking money from pharmaceutical corporations, but also doesn't like Joe Rogan for some reason. I guess you like the holistic medicine aspect of Joe Rogan, but like maybe not that he's a Ron DeSantis supporter. I don't know.
Note strikes again. And of course, she received millions.
Yeah.
She's a fucking liar.
Well, and it's an arms race. How can pharma cloak the money that it's giving so that there's plausible deniability at the point that Elizabeth Warren is confronted or Bernie Sanders?
Bernie Sanders was hilarious.
Only 1.5 billion. Only 1.5 million out of 200 million.
Like, this guy went from being a Bernie Glazer, a Bernie bro, to shitting on Bernard Sanders. How did this happen? Like, how does your brain break in this direction, in this severe of a fashion? I do not understand. Truly.
Only 1.5.
Yep, that's what I saw
First
as well.
trying to say nothing. Only the hardworking people in this country giving money.
Well, I don't think...
I don't know if you saw...
Yeah, RFK Jr., Elizabeth Warren called this out, and I gave her credit for this as well at the time, but RFK Jr. is also making money off of pharmaceuticals. He literally has a hotline where he directs clients to lawyers and picks up a fee for directing clients to vaccine injury lawyers and shit. Okay? People figure out ways to grift, chatters, sometimes in ways that you cannot comprehend. Wait, hold on. I have to fix everything now. All right. Weinstein and his brother has been completely laughed out of academia. Rogan literally robs people of the opportunity to learn. I know. But the Weinstein bros have only one method of making money now, and that is suckling on Joe Rogan's incredibly long nipples. Are you ever wrong and admit to it? Yes and yes. Very famously so, even though there is no benefit to admitting that you're wrong ever. It's not even remotely beneficial, and people yell at you all the time regardless. The most famous instance of me being wrong about Vladimir Putin will never invade Ukraine. That's far too insane for him to do. It would be devastating. Anyway, I think I know what your problem is. Is this the same computer that you brought to Japan? No, chatter. This is my normal desktop. Yes, the analysis was sound. The prediction was off. Sometimes your insults are a bit graphic for my brain. Fair. Another one, I think, is something I've thought about a lot. It's the Ukraine stuff and my initial reaction to ReactGate. I corrected you over something tiny linguistically, but it made a difference, and you immediately backtrack. Respect where respect is due. 3 years of wrong prediction, though? What do you mean? I think that Ukrainian war is 3 years. What do you mean? I'm confused by this. The people who think this about you are clip watchers? Yeah. Yeah, Bernie's healthcare donors are people that work in the healthcare sector and people that work in medicine, people that work in the pharmaceutical companies, all the way down to like when you're donating to a political campaign, you say where you work, you write your place of business, like you write your employer, okay? And then it gets logged as being from that sector. You were wrong about co-hosting a podcast with a certain someone, but that's more of a hindsight 2020 kind of thing. Yeah, no, that's not. Anyway, there's a lot of chatter about donations to Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign from the pharmaceutical industry. To be clear, our data on industry giving rolls up contributions from individuals who work in that industry and PACs. Corporations cannot donate to campaigns. So that's the problem. People see that and they think they understand the situation, and they think that Kaya place. Good. Okay, well, I'm glad I have it. Did you miss your Zin? No, I was able to make it work. The top blue check reply doesn't even know how political donos work. How do we know when pharma employees donate? Oh my god, dude. I'm losing it. Like, so much of American political discourse revolves around I don't know a certain thing, and now I'm going to make it your problem. Like, that's just what this is. I don't know how something works, and it's actually your fault. And I'm not going to search. I'm not going to learn. I'm not invested in the truth at all. And it's your issue now. It's your fault now. I think you are wrong. I think you were wrong about the streamers work harder socially than other professions. I get what you were trying to say, but try being in the service industry, big dog. I know your job is hard, but there are a lot of benefits that others don't get with the same amount of burnout. I need you to understand that, and I think you do, and you pulled back and self-corrected a little bit. I think that was big of you. Wait, what? No. You can't say I think you're wrong and then literally then repeat what I said. No, that doesn't count. Okay? What the hell? See, there are instances where I think I say things incorrectly, okay? But then there are also people that literally clip me entirely out of context, and then Brigade and then Keemstar and the like jump on it. It's like coming in here and being like, "You're wrong, big dog. I know you've been a massive advocate for for-profit healthcare, but honestly, I'm glad that you're finally coming to the conclusion that like profit should not be in the healthcare sector." Like that's ridiculous. I mean, about how your job is harder. I know, and I never took you as that. Oh my God. I think the easiest way to understand my position on this is that I don't work any other job. This is what I do. I have the freedom to be able to go and work another job. If I thought it was easier to do that job, I would do that job. Okay? That's it. Anyway, is this the struggle session right now where chatters bring up every one of your indiscretions and clips they saw out of context now? I know. Man, you got people talking shit then apologizing to themselves for you so you don't have to do shit, Lamau? What do you mean? Anyway, have you seen the news on the White House faith office? No, I have not. I know you don't do it for the money, but I'm wondering if you would stop if you didn't get as much money as you do now. I mean, for many years before I got to this position, I wasn't making much money, and I still was doing it with no clear indication that I would ever be this successful. I never assumed that I would get to this level of success on this platform, and I still did it. Also, even right now, I could just quit, but I don't. And the reason why I don't, so depressing. Chuck Schumer ripped by Democrats for Musk protest. Okay, wait, why is everything in italics now? What is going on with my fucking computer, dude?
Senator Sanders joins us now. You talk about an oligarchy running the White House. You have billionaires.
How did everything turn into italics? Even the captions. I don't know what's going on, but my shit is fucked up. Bro, even my captions are leaning right, dude. I'm on the right side of my camera. Captions are leaning right. I don't know what the hell is going on.
Now currying favor with the new administration, donating to the presidential library, the inauguration, making deals with family members of the Trump family. How far are we from a kleptocracy?
Well, let's start with oligarchy, and I think we are there. You know, when you see three of the richest people in this country, the three richest, standing behind the president when he gets inaugurated, when you see Elon Musk, who contributed over $200 million, 270, to get Trump elected, and then becomes in many ways the most important appointee of the Trump administration. And when you see since Trump's inauguration,
Software dev computer guy, what the hell did you do to your computer? I've never seen this after 12 years. I've never experienced this issue before. And I don't think a single chatter has ever experienced this issue before as well. Like all of it. What Musk is doing is illegal. The title is in italics. Everything is in italics. I don't know what it is, but I don't really care. Whatever.
Elon Musk becoming $150 billion
Twitter is not
richer in 2.5 weeks. $150 billion richer. You tell me whether or not we are living in an oligarchy. And I think the function of government under Trump, under Elon Musk, will not be to serve ordinary people, but to make the very richest people in this country even richer.
There are probably some people watching who think, oh, Elon Musk, smart guy. He's got these 19, 20-something-year-old tech wizards going into government and looking for waste and abuse. And what's wrong with that? What is wrong with what is going on?
Nothing wrong with looking for waste and the kinds of bureaucracy that exist. I think we can do a whole lot to get rid of the waste, the fraud, the excessive bureaucracy that exists in government, especially, by the way, in the Defense Department.
You did the same interview. You got the same amount of motion as Anderson Cooper, my goat. I did it for 30 minutes. Anderson only gets Bernie for 7.
What is wrong right now is one simple reality. What Musk is doing is illegal and unconstitutional. You cannot go into an agency like USAID and essentially fire everybody and get rid of that agency. You cannot do that's an agency that was created by Congress. They want to get rid of USAID, fine. Come to the Congress, make your case. You can't do it unilaterally. You cannot withhold U.S. funds that were appropriated for Medicaid, for community health centers, for Head Start. You cannot put a freeze on that. That money was appropriated by the Congress. And as I hope every fourth grader in America knows, Congress holds the purse strings. And what I also worry about is not just the movement toward oligarchy, but this growing trend.
When you balling with Bernie, I'll figure it out soon.
I hope the American people are seeing clearly that we had the January 6th rioters, the people who were trying to, in a sense, overthrow an election, undermine democracy, contributed to the injuring of 170 Capitol Hill police officers. They are pardoned. And then the FBI agents who worked hard to make the case, doing what they are told, they are now being investigated. What is the future of the FBI? Is the criteria to be an FBI agent in the future one who swears allegiance to Donald Trump or one who upholds the Constitution and the rule of law? And I'll tell you something else in terms of authoritarianism, Anderson, and this is something that you and other people in the media should pay attention to. ABC paid a fine to Donald Trump, presumably for saying something that he didn't like. Meta, owned by Zuckerberg, paid a $25 million fine to Trump. Right now, Paramount, that owns CBS, is contemplating reaching a settlement with Trump. He has sued the Des Moines Register. The FCC is now investigating PBS and NPR. That is a movement toward authoritarianism when you go after and intimidate an independent media. So you add it all together, we're moving toward an oligarchy, we're moving toward authoritarianism, and in terms of a kleptocracy, well, what can I say? Before he got inaugurated, Trump and his wife issued coins. They made billions of dollars. Anybody can give to the president in a sense by buying those coins. So the American people are going to stand up and fight back, or else we're going to be in real trouble.
We had a historian, Doris Kearns-Goodwin, on last week who talked about Andrew Jackson corrupting essentially government employees, giving out favors to people who curried favor with him. He gave them civil service jobs, and it took generations in America to correct that. And it took Teddy Roosevelt being the civil service commissioner for 6 years to really root that out and get a civil service that served the American people and not whoever was in power. The damage being done potentially, people think, oh, well, maybe it's just going to be 4 years. The damage can be for generations.
Right. I mean, it goes without saying that I think the overwhelming majority of Americans want a strong, efficient, independent civil service. We can make improvements. I am not here to tell you that we don't have a bureaucracy, that we don't have waste. We do. We got to work on that. But you don't get rid of thousands and thousands of dedicated public servants and replace them with people who are simply loyal to Donald Trump. That's not the way our democracy is supposed to work.
Let me just quickly ask you on Gaza. When you heard the President of the United States talking about turning the Gaza Strip, I mean, getting 2 million Palestinians out, I mean, as anybody who has read history or the region or been watching for the last year, did you think this was a joke at first? I mean, can you believe?
Look, one could say that, Anderson. On the other hand, given the suffering that the Palestinian people have gone through under Netanyahu's brutal war, which has killed at least 45,000, injured over 100,000, mostly women and children, the idea that the President of the United States is going to say to these people, oh, by the way, you're going to have to leave the place where you live because we are going to build something equivalent to the French Riviera.
Well, also the thugs of Hamas are still there. I mean, it's not as if they have gone.
Yeah, but even that's right. So, and as you just discussed a moment ago, how do you do that? Are American troops involved? How much money is being spent? But the idea of telling 2.2 million people who live in an area, you're gone, we're going to build a French Riviera here so my billionaire friends can enjoy the beautiful view. It is, to say the least, preposterous. It ain't going to happen.
To the fallout from President Trump saying that the U.S. would...
Every aspect of this admin is so fucked. It's just... I think it's Trump playing hardball as always. What Trump says and what Trump will do are two entirely separate things. That doesn't stop the fact that he is actively normalizing and genuinely wants to do this, by the way. Like, make no mistake. I think Trump, if given the opportunity, would love to do this. Will he be able to do it? I don't know. Not chat being pro-Hamas. Crazy. Brother, it is not October 7 any longer. I don't know what you are talking about here, okay? Like, if you can't comprehend why people would resist against the Israeli apartheid after 16 months of genocide, as the American government that allowed Israel to do this by offering the munitions to do it, while also simultaneously talking currently about the fact that there will be mass ethnic cleansing, a mass population transfer scheme on this existing territory, like, and you're still like, well, what about Hamas? You're out of your fucking mind, dude. Get a new point, please. Hamas is but a name, okay? That's it. That's all it is. It's an expression. It's an expression of Palestinian emancipation. That's it. That's what it is. If it's no longer Hamas, it's something else, okay? It's gonna be something else. And in the past, it was something different than Hamas. It was the PLO. Something that I have maintained that was written about on Fox News as well was the fact that Hamas is the lesser of two evils between Hamas and Israel. It's just the truth. Yeah, I know I covered this earlier, that Egyptian diplomats came out and said Biden said the exact same thing. Biden quietly made the exact same proposals that they refused to abide by in terms of mass ethnic transfer, which is the least shocking revelation of all time. The major difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, at least on this issue, is that Donald Trump says the quiet part out loud. But American foreign policy, as I've stated, is uniparty. Yeah, 972 Magazine's new coverage also shows that After using bunker buster bombs, they gassed the tunnels and most likely killed hostages in the process. I remember one of the family members in Israel of one of the hostages that was killed was actually demanding an additional investigation, a third-party investigation into how one of the hostages had died. And her suspicion, if I recall correctly, was that he was gassed. Now, 972 Magazine's investigations show that there is a very high likelihood that that is what happened. From 1 year ago, a hostage mother says toxic gas from Israeli bombs killed her son. Is she right? This is from January 31st, 2024, from an entire year ago.
Take over Gaza. Our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, tracking this for us, also from the White House. Mary, good morning.
Whit, good morning. Well, after the president declared that the U.S. would take over Gaza and that the Palestinian people would be permanently...
Why are you even making what comparison? What comparison did I make? I didn't make a comparison. I just told you what happened. I don't even know what you're talking about. You knew what you were insinuating? Are you talking about making a Holocaust comparison? If that's what you're thinking that I'm insinuating? In this circumstance, I was not. Having said that, yes, I have voluntarily made comparisons to Israel and Nazi Germany numerous times over. You must be new here if you think I'm afraid of making such comparisons. Zionism is a fascist movement very similar in its expression of violence to the Nazi movement. Okay? We're talking about Israel using chemical weapons and potentially gas on Israeli citizens that are hostages. That is just what is reported on in the news. It seems like you have issues with what Israel is doing, or maybe you have issues when someone talks about what Israel is doing. If you consider what Israel is doing, which is genocide, to be very different than what the Nazi Germany did, I don't know what to tell you. They also did a genocide. I think you have an issue with just what the truth is. It's not that you have an issue with me. It's that you have an issue with the truth. That's it. You can say crazy about it all day, every day, but it won't change the truth.
Relocated. The White House this morning is struggling to explain what this plan would look like, how this would actually work. Now, this proposal has sparked international outrage, and now some administration officials are seeming to dial back the president's language. The president said bluntly that it was his intention to remove Palestinians from Gaza permanently. But here at the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt now says the relocation would be temporary to allow Gaza to rebuild, though the administration estimates that could take 10 to 15 years. And she insisted the U.S. would not be paying for that rebuilding. And while the president initially said he was willing to use the U.S. military if necessary, when I asked Leavitt whether American troops would forcibly remove Palestinians or be fighting on the ground in Gaza, she said the president has not committed to troops in the region. And in fact, just now, the president posting that, quote, no soldiers by the U.S. would be needed, saying stability for the region would reign. Now, the White House was also pressed on the president's decades of criticism of U.S. entanglements and conflicts abroad. But the White House says that the U.S. would not be entangled in the Middle East through this plan, even though the president said, quote, the U.S.
Yeah, it's just weird because we are already entangled in it. Because without our support, without our bombs and munitions, for example, Israel wouldn't be able to destroy as many parts of Gaza as they have. So to say that we are not entangled in this is ridiculous. Man falsely poses an immigration agent and traps Latino man in a car. I hope he goes to jail. Doesn't Israel have their own arsenal, though? Yes. It's simply not enough to maintain a permanent bombing campaign that reduces the entirety of the Gaza Strip to rubble.
U.S. would own Gaza and would be responsible for dismantling all of the unexploded bombs and weapons there. George.
So we're going to own Gaza, even though we're not going to send any money, we're not going to send troops, and all of the other Arab nations said they're not prepared to take Palestinians.
That is exactly where we stand right now. The president is making this sweeping outline, calling for this plan without explaining how he is going to pull this.
I'm not trying to call you all, I promise, but I thought of this from a philosophical position. I feel both have merit. Do you feel in your position that it is more important to call out detractor talking points and demonstrate how to dismantle them, or to clarify positions for folks who are in the same headspace as you promote? It's both. I do both. Sometimes I do more of the latter. Other times I do more of the former. It's important to do both.
Off. They are not committing to putting troops on the ground. They are not committing to spending any money, and they still have not explained by what authority the president would be able to take over this sovereign territory. George.
Mary Bruce, thanks very much.
At the top of the program, we laid out the administration's rewriting of what the...
Yeah. the reason why I talked about the previous administration's actions earlier when talking about Gaza and how the Trump administration's actions are going to differ from like the previous one was because of this. Because everyone in the United States of America always likes to revert the conversation back to an appropriate vector of anger, drama. Okay? For YouTube slop tubers, that can be drama surrounding content creators. And for obviously liberals who have a vested interest in defending the failure of a candidate and a failure of a campaign that just took place that lost to Donald Trump the second time around, their goal is to obviously deflect blame away from the Democratic Party's ineptitude and away from the campaign specifically, back to a target that everyone can get mad about. Now, it can be the third-party voters or the Bernie bros, or in this circumstance, the radical Muslims in Dearborn, okay? It is their fault that Kamala Harris lost. Very frustrating process, considering that they did play a role in Kamala Harris's defeat, especially in Michigan. They played a very important role, but that issue is not up to the voters. That responsibility does not fall on the voters. Votes are not earned. We exist in a theoretical democracy where votes are supposed to be, votes are not entitled for. They're supposed to be earned. Sorry. Okay? That's the foundational principle of a democratic administration, a democratic form of governance, is that your elected representatives are supposed to represent you. Okay? And in that process, voters are going to extract concessions. But for some reason, people love blaming voters in general and never the campaign. People also love blaming third-party voters specifically. Ironically enough, third-party voters still could not make up for the margin of defeat in many of the states that Kamala Harris lost. So why do Democrats still make this point? Well, because, again, there's a little bit of that the truth doesn't matter attitude on the liberal side of the spectrum as well. This is a very dangerous game to play. This is a major issue for me. The fact that on the right, we've just gone into full tilt denialism and desperately rushing towards alternative reasons that are not born out of the data and just simply hysterical. And liberals play a little bit of that as well on their end. Not good. Okay?
The president said last night about taking over Gaza and remaking it as a Riviera of the Middle East, his words. Regardless of what the people around him say he said it all on camera, and millions of people saw it, including Arab Americans, many of whom voted for him. More from CNN's Jason Carroll now in Dearborn, Michigan.
Days before the last presidential election, Donald Trump was the invited guest at the Great Commoner restaurant in Dearborn, Michigan. Albert Abbas says he extended that invitation, a decision he is now reflecting on, given all that has happened in the last 24 hours.
Many in the community are at a loss for words. Last night was a very rough night for most of us.
Abbas is Arab American and one of a number of Democrats who voted for Trump. Abbas says he hoped Trump would do more than President Joe Biden did to help Palestinians suffering in Gaza.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip.
But after Trump said Palestinians should leave Gaza so it can be redeveloped, Abbas says not only does he feel betrayed, he's hearing from a number of people angered over his past support of Trump.
People were really, really frustrated.
What's so insane to me is that the Democratic Party saw a 112% swing in this constituency to a guy who set the stage for October 7 to happen and to a guy who ran on doing the Muslim ban. Okay? Think about how unimaginably bad you dropped that fucking ball. Okay? We say fell for it again award for many situations. This is one of the few instances where the Democrats basically pushed actively voters from this constituency directly to Donald Trump. Yeah, Donald Trump lied. No shit. I repeated this over and over and over again throughout the campaign, where I said Donald Trump got $100 million from Miriam Adelson. $100 million. If you think that he is going to be good for the Palestinians, you're wrong. As a matter of fact, the reason why he is going to be most likely worse for the Palestinians is because of their ambitions in the West Bank. Because American foreign policy is only uniparty, but it always tacks further to the right when Republicans are in charge. So they increase the brutality. Okay? I mentioned this time and time again on numerous occasions. But when one party is effectively controlling the pain and death and destruction as the administration in charge, and actively undermining this constituency by basically saying, we don't want you, we don't need you, we can win without you, to prove a point, okay? And the other party at least has the, I guess, audacity or the decency to lie. Yeah, the voters are going to understandably go with the party that's lying to them, with the hopes that that party that's lying to them is maybe telling the truth, okay? That's it. This, to me, is not only a clear indication of the moral ineptitude, the immorality of the Democratic Party, but it also is a major indication of the awful ways in which the Democrats campaigned. If you lose to the Muslim ban guy, if you lose the Muslim vote to the Muslim ban guy, and you don't go back to the drawing board and go, how do we fuck up so hard? You want to lose. That's it. It's crazy. You will never understand the desperation that people have when they're seeing their family members be slaughtered on television, when they try to talk to them, and they're being blown to bits by American bombs that they paid for with their taxes. That's just something you will never be able to comprehend. By an administration that you voted for. That's another thing that you have to remember. By an administration that you voted for. And because you can't comprehend that feeling, because you will never be able to understand it, you can be callous in this moment. That's it. Don't do this. And I maintain this position as someone who also said that Donald Trump is most likely going to be worse than the administration prior. Even after the ceasefire negotiation was pushed for by Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, I maintain this position that they are most likely gearing up for permanent annexation of the West Bank. But you have to remember that you have to remember where this pain and where this hurt was coming from and who was responsible for it. The Democratic Party actively threw away the easiest gimme of all time. Kamala Harris actively ran towards Biden instead of running away from Biden. Not on just Gaza. Gaza is one issue. It's a significant one, but it's one issue. What is important about Gaza is that it demonstrates a couple things. Okay? It is a microcosm of the problem at the heart of the Democratic Party, which is their inability to listen to the actual voters, no matter how hard, no matter how loud those voters are yelling. Their inability to do the bidding of voters and doing everything they can to defend their benefactors, their corporate donors, their party boosters. Okay? This is it. They were willing and did throw away an election. They threw away an election when all signs and all data readily available showed that changing the trajectory and pushing for a ceasefire actively would most likely have seen at least a 6-point swing in some of the key states. Democrats did nothing because Trump was worse, and Trump won because Democrats did nothing. Yeah, it's that simple. A Harris campaign organizer says senior officials ordered them to erase voters who asked about Gaza, marking emails as no response so they'd be removed from outreach. No engagement, no persuasion, just ignored. The only clowns are the ones who decided to abdicate on this. We also didn't create a new category for Gaza response out of fear that that category would be leaked. Instead, we were told to mark them up as no response. The organizer said, faulting top Harris campaign leaders for failing to address the issue. The only clowns out there are those who were in senior leadership and decided to abdicate on this issue, who silenced the Palestinian speaker of the DNC, who told us to ignore it every time a voter asked us about Gaza. Like, this is a massive failure. Writing this off is throwing away tens of millions of dollars of work. Okay? Straight up. It's akin to lighting $10 million on fire. You understand? When someone goes and knocks on a door and has a direct back and forth, or someone calls someone, a voter, a potential voter, and has this back and forth, and they mark that as like, oh, unresponsive, throw it away, you're literally throwing data away. And you're doing that because you're afraid that if that data leaks, everyone will know the sinister truth, that you are avoiding this issue like the fucking plague because you have donors up your asshole. Okay? That was the one aspect of the conversation that I had leading up to the election with the Pod Johns, where John Favreau basically told me in Michigan that they're getting a lot of calls from Jewish voters who are worried about Israel's, who are worried about the Democratic Party dropping Israel and defending Palestinians. I don't think that was real. I think he felt like he was pushed into a corner because I had actual data, and he just kind of said that. I maintain the position. Look, I have no love lost between me and the Pod Johns, but I think he basically came up with that on the spot. Okay, when we were having that conversation, because there is not a single piece of evidence that I've seen. And by the way, in the aftermath of the election, this demonstrably was a failure regardless, but there's not a single piece of evidence that I've seen so far, including directly polling American Jews and their opinion on Israel, that said that Israel was the primary issue for them. The only people that Israel is a primary issue for are people that are already voting for the Republican Party. They voted for the Republican Party, and they're going to continue voting for the Republican Party. That's it. She sucked, but are you saying that people who didn't vote were right? It's a two-party system? No. I'm saying that people don't vote on harm reduction narratives. This has been a demonstrable failure now twice around, okay? At a certain point, you can't hope that the educated electorate is going to come out and respond to harm reduction narratives. That is not a way to launch successful campaigns. It has not worked. Ironically enough, in this circumstance, it's not like Kamala Harris was even advocating for harm reduction. On other aspects, maybe, but the harm reduction was packaged in a way where the Democrats were admitting that they were wrong and hypocritical. Like on the issue of the border, Democrats were advocating for a right-wing border bill that Republicans wrote that was basically Trump's agenda from 2020 that they successfully defeated on the issue of immigration. And that basically was an admission that they were wrong on immigration. Why the fuck would anybody vote for you then? On the other hand, yeah, Trump wants to do mass deportations. Is that worse? Of course it is. Trump wanted to do mass deportations. Kamala Harris advocated for Donald Trump's policy from 2020. Which is worse? Of course mass deportation is worse. But in the eyes of the voters, they're not going to look at that and go, well, this is harm reduction. They're going to look at that and go, you said the border wall was racist for 8 years. You called me a Nazi. Now you want to build the border wall? Turns out your fucking ineptitude is the reason why we have a border crisis to begin with. And now you're admitting that. Do you understand? That's it. You can't win elections like this. So I don't know why there are chatters in here. Okay. I don't understand why there are chatters in here who unironically, don't say admitting it's not true. I know, but it looks like they're admitting to fault. That's the point. I don't think it's correct, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the truth is. We're talking about how people vote. We're talking about how people respond to certain messaging. Do you understand? And look, there are plenty in this community, Michael from Pennsylvania, myself, we saw this from a mile away. I talked about how dangerous a gamble this was for Kamala Harris, running around with Liz Cheney over and over again, thinking that she's going to be able to carve out a constituency of white suburban moms that are going to carry her to the electoral victory. It was a failure. She drove away the base. Respond to certain messaging. You mean how you don't respond to genuine critiques? I hope the chatters can redirect this one lost chatter to a video where I have addressed 1 million times over the same exact false smears and clips out of context. Not to say that you actually care about the truth. I suspect you don't, because if you did, you could investigate on your own. Are you a man or a bot? Are you a man but a mere animal? That is the question you must ask yourself on this wonderful day. If you are a man that has the capability of independent thought, you should investigate on your own and go directly to the source material and try to figure out if things were clipped in 15-second increments and maybe look at the longer clips on each individual issue that was addressed 1 million times over. I myself have talked about these points of view over and over again, these bad faith smears that I have received for the past 16 months because of my advocacy for Palestinians. There's a video out there on my YouTube page that you can watch called Ethan v. Hasan Piker, or Ethan Klein versus Hasan Explained, from 3 months ago, where I address a lot of the videos that Ethan put in his 1 hour and 40-minute nuke. If you're going to say the context is wrong and don't actually say that it was out of context, how about you actually explain the context? I have. You're demonstrating that you don't care. Here, I'll give you a quick example. This is just one. What did I do last time to fix my Twitter? It was broken again. What? Okay. What is happening? Let me turn it off and turn it on again. Ay, ay, ay. Let's see if it works now. Cute ass dog in the background. She's sleeping. She's snoring. Just give up on political commentary and become a cam model at this point, bro. One, thank you for saying I have what it takes to be a cam model. And two, why would I do that? Here, Chatter was asking for how certain things are clipped out of context. Here, this is a great example. Inbred fucking douchebags in the background.
Like, these are just dudes standing back
nation
there.
Entirely
Like,
comprised of messy.
And this is an ongoing like joke with this community. These are just fucking benign dudes. Just I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It looks like they're doing charity or something. It looks like they've got water or box.
They're doing charity. Remember, by the way, this is a video that he quote unquote researched for months.
Or something, like they're helping, and he's going, "Oh, look at these inbred fucks." It's like, bro, who are you? What are you? Who are you? Like, how dare you?
Guys, the Israeli police is investigating the attack on the Gaza aid convoy.
Israeli security forces are paid to stop this happening. They either could not or would not, but clearly did not prevent Israeli settlers attacking an aid convoy yesterday. From the West Bank, bound for Gaza, where, say aid agencies, hundreds of thousands of civilians face famine.
But during the unloading and loading, settlers attacked these trucks, destroying the products and burning them in a systematic act of sabotage.
Continuation of images seen yesterday as settlers destroyed food at the same crossing point.
So, does that make sense? Do you understand now? Every single clip that he used, every single one is exactly like this. Coming from a place where I'm afraid to say the person making this content nuke is not necessarily knowledgeable on the matter and simply wanted to shit sling. And I think to a certain degree, especially in his own community, it did work. It presented him as someone who was genuinely wronged, right? By a radical who scared him, a radical who lied to him, when in fact, I never hid my political perspective. We had a political podcast. Anyway, so I just want, and I mean this in all sincerity, I want him to get better. Like, yes, I definitely have been in my feelings about this sort of thing, but who wouldn't be? This is coming after, 6-7 months of endless begging for deplatforming, actively collaborating with the likes of Dan Saltman and Sex Pestiny. But having said that, I don't want Ethan to be sad. I want him to have a healthy, normal stream. I just want him to leave me alone for the most part. I don't think he will, but I think it's just like things are not going to get better for him. And this is his own undoing. And I don't think he'll be able to. I think he's just going to keep increasing and upping the ante and saying more and more unhinged things because he's not thinking clearly in this process. And any kind of statement I make about this, okay, any kind of statement I make about this is not going to reach him in a positive way. From what I understand, he's saying his next nuke that he's going to make another one is going to be spiteful, as though the first one wasn't. And yeah, I don't know if he recognizes that this is his own undoing. But yeah, where's that one chatter who asked that question? I assume he fucked off immediately after saying, immediately after coming in and saying, like, this is, nah, he said some other stupid shit. I mean, that's clearly not the messaging of the video. If you're saying his claim is you scared him, do you have any media literacy whatsoever? Do you think I need media literacy to understand a YouTube drama slop video? Like, what are you talking about? You're making it seem like this is a formative work. It's very clear what the intention of the video is. And also, notice how you move the needle, you move the goalpost. I said that it's out of context. You demanded I describe to you what the context is, and you immediately moved on. And you're like, well, that's not the major point of the video. At a certain point. At a certain point, you have to understand, like, okay, well, if this is incorrect, do you like being incorrect? I guess you do. I guess you don't care. I myself, I don't like being incorrect. Almost like this chatter wasn't approaching you in good faith. Yeah, I know. How do you know he collaborated with Sex Pestiny? Ethan claims not to know him. He used untitled, unlisted videos from DGG Orbiter accounts that were titled HasanAbi. And also, Dan Saltman admitted that he was emailing back and forth with Ethan. Also, he does know who Destiny is. What are you talking about? I've had conversations with him about Destiny before. He has had conversations with me about Destiny before. He knows exactly who the fuck Destiny is. That's crazy. People forget. Destiny used to call him a R word all the time. You know, back when Ethan was my ally. Yeah. He also used like Photoshop memes that DDGers made for the Frogan memes. To them, the reality is to them, Ethan is nothing. Like Ethan is just a weapon. You know what I mean? And I don't think he realizes that. And I think the more he participates in this stuff, the more people look at it and go, okay, well, this is not for me. This is what I'm talking about when I say, like, I wish for his own sake he would stop doing this. But yeah, he won't stop. He wants to take the mantle of D. Did you move? It feels weird in this angle. No. This is something that I've warned other hate slop tubers about in the past. If your entire content revolves around like toxicity and bad faith, clipped out of context shit about a content creator that has a, you know, fairly sizable audience of haters, and if your job is to simply make videos like that, you can only tap that vein so much until it runs dry. And then the community that you've cultivated turns into one that is only seeking that out, and they'll move on. And that's it. Like, we had a lot of crossover audience members, and I think he wants to retain the remainder in an effort to be like, this is why I've been doing this. Here's why it's justifiable. And since the quote unquote content nuke didn't work, now he's just going to go and, you know, engage in petty shit, slander. And there's already enough haters of mine out there that they'll entertain anything in the same vein as the way, you know, Trump supporters will agree to whatever kind of idiotic thing that Ian Miles Wrong is posting. That's it. It's just like making that kind of taking the initiative and making that kind of content is not for someone who has any sort of kindness in their heart. And even if you kill that kindness in your heart, you still won't be able to maintain it because it's so fucking toxic. And at a certain point, people are going to be like, you're using these sorts of clips out of context. Here are the million different instances where people have used clips of you from the past. You know what I mean? Like, he's a person who I thought had grown from his past behavior. The H3 subreddit is insane now, and Ethan copy strike the snark Reddit for doing exactly what they're doing. Yeah, I saw. Sometimes it pops up on my Reddit. It's shocking how much a community can turn in like a matter of 6 months. Like, it's pretty crazy. Actively. Did you just admit to having a Reddit? Yes, I go on Reddit from time to time. It is pretty crazy because that community used to hate Destiny for understandable reasons. And they used to regularly point out that Destiny's commentators, Destiny's community is like actively brigading it. And now they love it. So yeah, it truly has turned into something different, in my opinion. Fuck! God damn it. Can you hear me? What is happening? We're back. Can you hear me? Hello? Gitti geldi. What is happening? I'm still here. We can't see you? I know. I don't know how to fix it. Hold on. Why does it say no signal? Oh, god damn it. Oh, today's not your day, bro? Shut up. I know. Hold on. I'm gonna fucking fix it. I don't know what to do here. Change your camera? I did. All of my cameras are broken. They're like the power went in and out. So now the cameras are just like not working. And I deactivated and activated again, but it's not working at all. And I don't know how to fix it, but you can at least still see you. Hold on. I'm going to fix it. It's because you moved your desk, lol. No, that's not the reason. I don't know how to fix this. I genuinely don't know. Feel free to call me if you need. Cameras might need time to boot. Might need to unplug, replug the cams in. Let me see. Hold on. Oh, we're back. Yeah, the cameras turn off. I don't know why. But yeah, the cameras just basically turn off. That's crazy, dude. 3 seconds of fucking camera the camera going out for 3 seconds, and 4K people are like, I'm done. Fuck this. I'm out. Your IT department's losing on the job, fam? No, dude. It's because, God, I don't want to get into it. Anyway, oh no, now everyone's gonna ask if I have a UPS. Yes, I do. I do have a fucking UPS. I do. I have a UPS. Check the manual for the cameras. You can probably change that. They do that in the power issue. Oh, I just don't have it working right now. Please stop. All right, let's where was I? Hold on. I'm gonna pull up the video that we were. I can't believe that chatter derailed me this much. It's pretty crazy. And then he just left. It makes me sad that people come in and they're just like, I have no interest in hearing the truth whatsoever, and I'm simply here to talk shit and leave. Everyone is saying you're scared to debate Asmongold. It's true. I'm terrified. This is true. I'm legitimately worried. Legitimately scared. All right, let's get back to Arab Americans in Michigan react to President Trump.
United States, a community which helped Trump carry the critical swing state. He won 42% of the vote in Dearborn versus Vice President Harris with 36% and Jill Stein with 18%. In 2020, Biden handily carried the city with 69%. Faye Nimmer voted for Trump in 2024 out of frustration over the previous administration's support of Israel. Now, she is troubled by the president's proposal to move Palestinians out of Gaza.
I mean, it's very concerning and it's infuriating.
Personal feelings, you're infuriated, but standing by your decision for now to have voted for Trump.
Correct.
And what would move that needle for you to say, you know what, I made a mistake?
Palestine is the red line for this community.
Nimmer says she suspects Trump is bluffing and is using his proposal as some sort of negotiating tactic. That's the same sentiment shared by Amar Zar.
First, this is clearly not going to happen, right?
And real estate broker Ali Al-Farajala.
A lot of people are calling me and texting me saying, hey, you know, how did your vote work out? You know, how was that third party vote?
Both were so-called protest voters. Neither supported Trump or Harris. Are there any sort of second thoughts now about having supported a third-party candidate?
Absolutely not. And I'll still do it again and again and again.
I didn't vote for Trump. So a protest vote, I don't know. I would say it was a targeted vote of conscience to say that the children of Gaza have to mean something. Their death has to mean something.
And while Arab Americans here were divided in the past, going forward, one point is uniting them: opposition to Trump's proposal to move Palestinians out of Gaza.
The community will be unified. I will tell you this. The Palestinian people would rather die and live in a demolition site than to be ethnically cleansed and being sent out of Gaza to Egypt or Jordan.
So again, Anderson, after spending some time here in the Arab American community, you really get a sense that they feel like they've been let down by both Republicans and Democrats. Certainly there's a great deal of frustration after hearing what Trump is proposing, but there's also a feeling that had Harris been elected, had it been a Harris administration, the feeling here is that Palestinians would still be suffering. Anderson?
Just Carol, thanks very much. And Dearborn with me now. Put some numbers to the story. CNN senior data reporter Harry Enton. Generally speaking, has there been much an appetite in the U.S. for to get involved in rebuilding Gaza?
No, there has not been. Look, we have no new polling since last night, right? Polling works fast. It doesn't work that fast. But in the polling that we had prior, that was taken towards the middle end of last year, what we saw was the overwhelming majority of Americans opposed the idea that the United States should take a lead role in reconstructing Gaza. You could see it right there, 57% opposed, just 37% support. And what I should note is the support was lowest among Trump's own base of Republicans. So the idea that this is going to sell among the American people at large or the Republican base, simply put, he definitely wasn't looking at the polls before he went out there and made a statement that was heard around the world because of how crazy it sounded to most people.
How did Palestinians view President Trump during his first administration?
Yeah, so we talk about Americans, right? But at the end of the day, the Gaza Strip is filled with Palestinians, right? So the question is, how did Palestinians feel about Donald Trump during his first term? And the bottom line is they absolutely disapproved of his leadership. I mean, you rarely see numbers like this. Look at this. 78% during his first term disapproved of his leadership. Just 10% approved of it. And I even drilled down a little bit more because you know I love going into those crosstabs. And what I found was approval, or at least disapproval among Gazans, was even higher. The disapproval among Gazans was.
In my opinion, we owe it to the Palestinians to pay for rebuilding Palestine to the last penny. I agree. Except Trump doesn't want to rebuild Palestine. He wants to ethnically displace it first and then build condominiums on what is the Gaza Strip. It's the worst of both worlds.
Was even higher than it was among Palestinians overall. So simply put, this would not be a popular plan either in America or in the Palestinian territories.
We are finally putting America first. Our policy of never
Totally. I love putting America first.
ending war, regime change, and nation building is being replaced by the clear-eyed pursuit of American interests. We do not seek nation building. We're going to end the era of nation building, a disastrous concept, a disastrous era. Why are we nation building over there? We want a nation build over here.
When President Donald Trump first entered politics nearly a decade ago, he did so with promises of putting an end to nation building and removing the U.S. from foreign entanglements in the Middle East. But now he's, of course, said that he has a new plan to redevelop the Gaza Strip, or as his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, put it, quote, make Gaza beautiful again. Rubio clarifying some of the details of the president's proposal yesterday.
The only thing President Trump has done very generously, in my view, is offer the United States willingness to step in, clear the debris, clean the place up.
As the Israel's defense minister readies its military for the, quote, voluntary departure, end quote, of Palestinians from Gaza, one thing that's clear, President Trump and his plan have the full support of his Israeli counterpart, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
This is the first good idea that I've heard. It's a remarkable idea. And I think it should be really pursued, examined, pursued, and done, because I think it will create a different future for everyone. He's the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House.
All right, joining us now, former Chief of Staff to Benjamin Netanyahu, George Birnbaum. Sir, good morning. Thank you very much for spending some time with us today.
Good morning, Casey.
I'd like to start with the meeting itself, and especially the look on the Prime Minister's face there, as well as some reporting that he was as surprised by this as almost anyone. The New York Times wrote this, quote, it wasn't only the Americans who were scrambling after the press conference. The announcement came just as much of a surprise to Mr. Trump's Israeli visitors. Soon before they walked out for their joint news conference on Tuesday, Mr. Trump surprised Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel by telling him he planned to announce the Gaza ownership idea, according to two people briefed on their interactions. You've obviously worked closely with Netanyahu. What did you read into his reaction, and how surprised was he?
Well, I would say this. Netanyahu is a very astute follower of political chess. And we saw a few announcements prior to the prime minister's arrival that were a little strange. One was the announcement that the King of Jordan would be coming to visit the White House in a couple of weeks. And while, with all respect to the King of Jordan, I could think of 24 world leaders that the president.
Trump doesn't care about polls anymore, and why would he? He has no more elections and doesn't care about the GOP. Hitler was also an anti-war candidate. A lot of policies were initially unpopular. No, Trump cares about popularity. You're wrong about that. I think he is, for selfish reasons, for narcissistic reasons, but reasons nonetheless, Donald Trump absolutely cares about being popular. In a very weird way, it has nothing to do with the election. I don't even think Donald Trump cared about winning the election the first time around. He just kind of lucked into it. And then the second time around, he had to do it out of desperation because he was worried about going to jail. He literally said he wanted to ban TikTok in his first term, and then now is known as the savior of TikTok. Why do you think that happened? You're such a leftist joke. Leftists don't joke, my friend. Yeah, how can you live through a decade of Donald Trump in politics and arrive at the conclusion I don't think he really cares about polling? I will say this much. Yeah, also, this dude has cuck in his name, which is kind of funny. I will say this much. I think Donald Trump, in a weird way, cares more about broad popularity and polling than like the average technocratic Democrat does. Now, having said that, are there things that he does that are deeply unpopular? Abso-freaking-lutely, right? I'll give you one great example of this. Donald Trump's reaction to the abortion ban once Roe v. Wade was overturned by his Supreme Court was very different than the way he was advocating for it beforehand. If given the opportunity, I'm fairly certain he would not have ever allowed that to happen. It's even more sinister that CNN has been talking about this nonstop for the past couple of days while they were dead silent when Israel was openly committing genocide and war crimes in Gaza. Yeah, because, anti-Trump hits get clicks. Anyway, what I was saying is he cares about popularity, but he'll say deeply unpopular things, especially when there's money to be made for himself or others. He'll still try to present it as the popular option, though.
Would invite to the White House prior to the King of Jordan. We also saw the announcement of a very unique arms sale to Egypt just a day prior to the Prime Minister arriving. Of course, Egypt and Jordan being two key players in President Trump's plan. So the Prime Minister may have been surprised that the announcement came so quickly, but I believe that he probably was reading the tea leaves a little bit and that President Trump did have something in mind by having these two very strange events occur so early into his presidency regarding the invitation of the King of Jordan as well as the arms sale to Egypt.
President Trump's Gaza plan is also upsetting some of the Arab Americans who voted for him. A number of those voters are in Dearborn, Michigan, the city with the highest percentage of Arab Americans in the U.S. They flipped to Trump in 2024, partly to protest President Biden's handling of the crisis in Gaza. Nikki Batiste asked people there how they are feeling now.
What do you think your headline will be this week?
Gazans will not leave their country.
I think something that, yes, I hear the buzzing too, or the tinnitus noise. I think something that American leadership discounts, which is leading them to make wrong decisions when figuring out how to go forward with this Gaza situation, is how unimaginably unpopular it would be with the actual citizens in these countries. If it were up to MBS and he had full control, if he had a magic wand, he would make all of the Palestinians perish. But the reason why the official Saudi position is that it is a non-starter to do mass ethnic displacement for the Palestinians. The reason why that is the official Saudi position, despite MBS's own personal distaste for the Palestinian plight, is because even in a place like Saudi Arabia, where the numbers of the population are very limited, no matter how many weapons you give MBS, he still has a very real fear of being potentially overthrown by his own population. Okay? Same with Egypt. If MBS were to basically say, I don't really care, go ahead, we're normalizing with Israel, okay? There's a likelihood that he'd get assassinated by an immediate family member even. MBS doesn't have an election to win? Yes. In countries where they don't have American-style theoretical democracy, they do things a little differently, okay? This is one of those issues where enough members of the public would absolutely make a big enough stink and try to actively overthrow their rulers, okay? Do you understand? They just kind of killed the leaders, Lamau. Just look at Sadat in Egypt as an example. I'm saying that authoritarian countries have more to fear from genuine rebellion than democratic countries do, because a theoretical democracy offers an opportunity, even if it's just simply the feeling of having political power in the form of your vote. It gives you a pressure valve. Authoritarian countries fear rebellion more than democratic countries do. Okay? That's where it actually happens. When there is no alternative in the eyes of the population and the government takes action that is so disastrous, so immoral, so repugnant that they can't stand idly by, they will revolt. The only way to maintain a docile population in an authoritarian country, because there is always a limit to how long authoritarian regimes can exist. The only way to continue operating with mechanisms of control is if you're constantly abiding by the best wishes and the broader public sentiment. They underestimate the prevalence of pan-Arab sentiment in the MENA region, My grandpa was a Saudi general who tried to coup the royals with the first set of normalization in the 70s. Failed, obviously, lol. Anyway.
Thomas Sablani's Arab American newspaper has shared the stories of the country's largest Arab community for 40 years.
We have expected from Donald Trump the worst, but he is shocking us of how worse he can be.
Here in Dearborn, Michigan, the Democrat usually wins, but last November, President Trump captured more than 40% of the vote to Vice President Harris's 36%. Part of her loss was due to people not voting for either major party. Sablani says he didn't vote for anyone, but blames Democratic candidates for the rare results.
The vote for...
I will never get over how easy it would have been for Biden to actually reverse course on Gaza. One phone call, proven by Steve Witkoff, going and telling Benjamin Netanyahu to cut it out, and then Benjamin Netanyahu actually cutting it out. And yet he chose not to do so, even though there was a severe electoral consequence there. It's crazy. Remember when Joe Biden said he had a red line when Israel decided to do the complete final solution on North Gaza with the hopes of permanent annexation of North Gaza? Biden said, "Oh, I'm going to give you a red line, Jack." He gave another red line on Rafah. We all know how that turned out. But the second time was even funnier because he gave him 30 days, which was after the election. And then, of course, he did not abide by the red line. Israel never followed through, and Biden kept giving him more weapons and rewarding him all the way till the last day. His State Department ran propaganda for Israel. I did not forget. If they were truly worried about Donald Trump fucking up the situation, if they truly cared about the plight of Gazans, they could have wrapped this shit up ever before it reached Trump's desk. Okay? They handed over the reins to Donald Trump with no care or consideration for Palestinians whatsoever because they don't care. It's that simple. There's no reason to dance around this issue. And many liberals are pretty open. I was told by a prominent liberal streamer today that the Rafah red line was an example of Biden saving the day, giving people time to leave Rafah. Oh my God. This doesn't make sense even in like their own moral system. Okay? Even in the world that they've invented where Biden somehow has the power to halt this, give a stay of execution, but also can't stop the execution in its entirety. You know what I mean? It's just so crazy. It's just wrong. I don't know how else to describe it other than purely wrong, you know? I think a lot of liberals, just like a lot of Republicans do, they just want to hear someone with similar opinions, you know? They just want someone to whisper sweet nothing into their ears. They want basically to feel like they're morally righteous, even when all signs point to the fact that they're not. And they want to do that by doing the bare minimum, which is going out and voting. They think it's the most, it is the most moral position. It's the highest form of political activism that one can partake in. It's the first step. Kaya. They didn't care if they lose either, as long as they can profit off campaigning against Trump. They're earning money anyway. Yeah.
For Trump was not really a vote for Trump. It's a vote against the Biden-Harris administration because they could not stop the carnage that's happening in Gaza.
If you were to give President Trump a grade for how he's handling Gaza, Middle East, what would it be?
I would say like a C+.
College senior Sarah Shaban voted for Trump. She says she gasped when she saw his remarks.
Insane to yap for hours about how much genocide Joe sucks when we can't change the past, but you can say I told you so. Meanwhile, Trump just called for ethnic cleansing and there's still shit that can be done to stop him. I mean, there's even less shit that can be done to stop Donald Trump than there was for Biden. So no, I think covering Biden's ineptitude on this issue is still fairly important to understand. You know what I mean? Like this was happening during an election, man. There is no clearer indication that America does not give a single shred of a fuck about democracy than not responding to the public pressure, major demonstrations, and only responding by telling everybody that they were Hamas supporters and that they were maybe being funded by Iran, and then also arresting 3,100 college campus demonstrators. Like, that is crazy. Those numbers are insane. They rarely got coverage in the media, but I have not forgotten, and neither should you. A couple of years from now, when you wonder how we got here, remember that the Democrats also were actively pushing to get here. My favorite thing about this whole situation as a Palestinian is that that the party collectively told me and all of mine to go fuck ourselves nonstop, ran a dog shit campaign where they told us they were going to win without us, and we didn't matter, and now turn around and reveal the Klan hoods they had hidden the entire time. I mean, did they hide the Klan hoods? They literally said, we'll win without you, and also that we're going to keep killing your relatives. So one could say that they were wearing the Klan hoods all along pretty openly. Now they just try to act like they weren't wearing the Klan hoods, but now you forced me to wear the Klan hood, when in fact they were wearing it last time around too. You know? They were always wearing it. Now they're saying, now you done did it. You forced my hand. You got what you wished for. And it's like, well, you didn't. You were fine with this happening when you were in charge. And now that you're out of power, you're still fine with it. Nothing really changed. I don't know why you also want this kind of like moral abdication. You want to be freed. You want to feel like you did your very best when we saw you not doing that.
I was disappointed, but I also wasn't surprised. But I would say that I kind of find it hard to believe that he would actually implement what he's saying.
Did you regret voting for him?
A little bit, yeah. But then I thought about it, and I was like, there's a ceasefire now, and I wasn't sure there was going to be a ceasefire if Kamala was elected.
Trump became the first Republican presidential candidate to win this city in more than 2 decades.
Amichai Stein, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to Channel 14. The Saudis can create a Palestinian state in Saudi Arabia. They have lots of land over there. I guess the Saudi normalization is not looking too good. What's your prediction? Do you think Trump will follow this at all? I mean, there's no reason to assume that Donald Trump is not going to actively try to do what he promised that he's going to do. Think about it. Think about it. With respect to virtually everything. It was like, oh, Project 2025. Oh, that's not real. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to read. And then they fucking turn around. And then they turn around and they're like, okay, we're doing Project 2025 to a T. We're doing exactly the things that were in Project 2025. When they say they're going to do something, it's a matter of how much resistance will undermine their goals. That's it.
Decades. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who represents Dearborn and is the only Palestinian American in Congress, blasted Trump's comments and said Palestinians aren't going anywhere. Vlad?
All right, Nikki, thank you very much.
Across the country today, demonstrators took to the streets, part of a movement billed as 50 protests.
God, I don't know what's wrong with my goddamn computer, dude. It is so busted. My pooter. I am aware that my camera is really far up. Wire chat is so brain dead to this reality. A solid 5,000 kids probably got blown off when Joe dropped out and Kamala ran on the Democratic ticket. He looks like the peaceful guy, even though he's not to the normies across the nation. Kamala and DNC fucked up the easiest presidential layup of all time. Didn't they find metadata from Project 2025 author on recent files from the White House? Yeah, I mean, it is a part of the same organizing unit, okay? It is the same body. There is no difference functionally between Project 2025 and the Republican Party's agenda. It is one of the same, and it always has been, and it's not new. It's not a new project. Yeah, Project 2025's co-author was just confirmed by the Senate as OMB head, was the tweet. Yeah, that's it. Here it is. Senate confirms Project 2025 architect to head the Office of Management and Budget. So that's the way I see it with respect to Donald Trump and his ambitions in Gaza. When he says he's going to do something, it's a matter of how much of a stink people can put in front of that. How much mass mobilization will occur, how much the Democrats will try to just throw procedural hurdles in the way. That's it. It's not a matter of like, will Trump do it if left on his own? The answer is yes. That's it. That's always the case.
One day. Among their grievances, the president's crackdown on illegal immigration. On that last note, tonight we have a new report showing how that can impact legal migrants with visas who keep America's farms running. CNN's David Culver reports.
Calling out to us from the back of the bus, Juan Manuel Cisneros shows us what he describes as his American dream come true.
Pues aquí está, estoy legalmente aquí en este país.
I said, do you always carry that document?
The Netherlands about to find out when the U.S. wasn't fucking around with the Hague Invasion Act? No, you don't understand. That's why I'm saying there's obviously hurdles in front of that sort of thing. Like invading the Netherlands would be insane. But then again, Trump is crazy. But who knows? I don't think it's the case. I don't think it'll,
because if anything happens, he can pull it out and say.
It seems
"I'm here legally in
unlikely,
this
but
country."
who knows?
Everyone on this bus can say the same. They're farm workers here on H-2A visas, which allow foreign workers to fill temporary or seasonal agricultural jobs.
They come here for about 8 months. All the folks on this bus who are on their lunch break are from Mexico. He says they're able to work the field, and as he sees it, it's a good solution to be able to make money and yet at the same time be here legally.
But with that visa comes grueling work.
Nobody local wants to work in agriculture harvesting crop. Nobody. These are hardworking, able-bodied men, and that's what they're doing. They're doing manual labor.
And they're doing it in a place that might surprise you.
That's east.
Yeah.
If I go far enough, I'll hit Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, you will.
You need only travel about 40 miles from here, as Roth Farms sits just on the western edge of Palm Beach County, Florida.
Certainly doesn't feel like the beaches of Palm Beach.
But it has the weather.
Which can be brutally hot and humid for those working these fields. Yet despite his need for a reliable and cost-efficient workforce, Roth says he supports President Trump's stance on immigration.
Is it going to get more difficult to get workers, you think, under President Trump and the crackdown on immigration?
No, I think it actually will get easier. We just want people to be vetted, and we want good workers that are come out here.
So the H-2A visa program may seem like a perfect solution to keep predominantly migrant workers employed on farms like this one here in Florida. But critics point out that it doesn't cover every person or every situation. Say, for example, those migrants who are fleeing violent and dangerous situations and don't have a home to go back to once the season's over. Or those who simply want to live and work with their families year-round in the U.S. And then you've got small farmers who say that the program is just way too costly and way too complicated.
For now, though, Roth sees H-2A visas as the best way to keep U.S. farms running. He hires a third-party company to handle the logistics. They recruit the workers from abroad and then place them at several different farms, including Roth's.
You hire them in Mexico, and you transport them over here. You pay all the transportation
You're
costs.
paying for that.
I pay all the transportation costs. We put them up in housing. We pay all the housing costs. The only thing we're allowed to charge them for is the cost of the food when we feed them.
So what is it like for these workers?
So here it is about 5 o'clock in the evening, and these workers have just finished their shift at Roth Farms. They're arriving back at their housing complex.
Juan Manuel and the others invite us to meet them after their workday is over.
¿Cómo está?
Bien, bien.
Yeah? What do you do this time of the day? Yeah, when you get here from work.
Comedor a las 6 de la tarde, llegamos a comer.
Dinner's at 6?
Sí.
We can go with him. He's inviting us up. Well, muchas camas aquí, no? They've been working 10 hours today. They work 6, sometimes 7 days a week. They have just a few things that they need, a few changes of clothes, some snacks, and not much privacy.
Juan Manuel shows us his setup.
Nada de la familia.
No traje nada.
He says what he makes is about $16 an hour. So here what you make in an hour, as he puts it, is an entire day's work in Mexico.
This is his third year on the visa.
HasanAbi watches Republicans destroy the government, violently deport people, and escalate Palestinian genocide. How could Democrats do this? Who lost to the Republican Party on against an incredibly defeatable candidate? Who is having a very difficult time even actively getting together to combat some of the aspects of this administration currently. Saying that, at least in this community, a somewhat knowledgeable community on the political process, is also silly, considering that the Laken-Riley Act didn't just pass with Republican votes. The Laken-Riley Act passed with Democrats voting for it. Somewhat knowledgeable. Yeah, no. Bound Diesel is the most knowledgeable. Why do Democrats act like they won the election? Like, they're so smug. They literally behave as though they won the fucking election. Maybe in the process, they got so used to advocating for Republican positions that it kind of feels like they won, you know? Even though they lost. On the policy front, they're getting, you know, an even more aggressive version of the agenda that the Democrats were advancing. It really doesn't make sense.
The work program. He said the money that he makes here, he's able to support his family in Mexico as well and help his mom and dad and brother and sister.
Para poder sobrevivir.
And he said that's what you need to do to survive. You can see all the workers now are gathering from all the different buildings. Most of them all work at different sites, but they come together to eat and then sleep. And then they will be back at it on the fields in about 10, 11 hours from now.
David, the farmers you talked to, do they believe that President Trump would support expanding this program, especially given his belief that foreign workers are taking American jobs?
The farmers that we spoke with, as they support President Trump, they also believe that he has to move forward with this, Anderson. They say, really, you look at the food supply in this country, and it is reliant on these workers. The visa program, though, has its limitations. They say under the Department of Labor, it is just really cumbersome, really complicated, and they say it's got to be made cheaper, particularly when you think about those smaller farmers.
David Culver, appreciate the report. Thank you.
In the final campaign stretch, Trump's focused relentlessly on immigration, and it has gotten ugly.
They're coming from 181 countries as of yesterday. Right in, we're a dumping ground. We're like a.
This is a re-upload. We've seen this already.
I knew that there was going to be chaos. I had no idea how bad it was going to be.
An American city suddenly thrust into a political firestorm.
The small city of Springfield,
I'm
Ohio.
eating my Japanese
Springfield,
haichu for
Ohio.
those wondering.
Maybe you remember it.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people.
John Oliver sneaky like that? Yeah. ICE has detained a middle school teacher in Miami-Dade. That the teacher attended his immigration hearing and was detained. He had been in the U.S. since his youth and had DACA. He will likely be deported. Wait, how? This doesn't make sense. We can't even have a DUI, so how did he become a teacher if he's undocumented? DACA. Insane. This person is not undocumented. This person is literally documented. They have deferred action on childhood arrival. It's DACA. If you come into this country as a child, although our system is ruthless and cruel, the Obama administration, at the very least, created this process where, you're functionally stateless at that point. It would be uniquely cruel and unusual if you were to be deported from this country that you grew up in. I was deported after DACA renewal denied during 2018. I lost my DACA because of DUIs, and I have a deportation order 25 years down the drain. In order for you to keep your DACA renewed, you literally have to abide by insanely, unnecessarily restrictive standards. Like you get a college education. You have to have a job. You can't leave the country. There are so many different rules that you need to abide by. If you get any sort of, if you get into trouble with the law, you will lose your status. You need to pay a lawyer. The fact that this person was a teacher and had the proper documentation and was detained, I think, during a court proceeding? Yeah. No, never mind. After they were detained by U.S. Customs Immigration Enforcement officials, the teachers union confirmed Thursday. And this is crazy. It's right there in the middle. Where does it say? Oh, they were detained at an immigration hearing. Oh my God, I kept missing it. Might be a little tired. Sorry. At an immigration hearing? That is insane. Hasan, over here in Chicago, I was literally going door to door. A lot have no criminal background. The only good thing is community here have been teaching them not to open the door without a warrant. Yeah, they're very mad about that. They've been getting really, really upset about that. The fact that, people have taught undocumented immigrants their rights. Yeah, nothing scarier than an informed public that forces these Gestapo members to at least abide by the existing laws for the time being, as those laws continue to exist. Here's another story that I wanted to cover as well. Man falsely poses as immigration agent and traps Latino men in their car.
You got caught, Mo. Where you from? Mexico? You from Mexico? You're going back.
A South Carolina man has been charged with kidnapping and impersonating a police officer after officials say he detained a group.
Of course he's been arrested. You can't impersonate a federal law enforcement officer. Chatters, are you kidding me? I'm sure they'll deputize people soon. There's a bounty system some of these states want to implement. But even in that structure, you cannot portray yourself as a court-ordered law enforcement, federal law enforcement officer.
Group of Latino men in Charleston County, South Carolina. 33-year-old Sean Michael Johnson is accused of willfully and unlawfully presenting himself as an ICE agent and detaining a vehicle of individuals from moving, according to court records.
Parky. No, you cannot drive, bro. You have not a license. You have no license. We're going back.
In addition to taking their keys, Johnson also blocked the men's car with his van so they could not drive away, according to court documents.
You know, if you don't have a license, you cannot drive a car in the United States. No, it's over. It's over. Hey, don't be speaking that pig Latin in my country, bro. Be speaking that.
I mean, this is literally a hate crime, too, on top of everything else. Like, what are we doing here? I can't say what I think for I want to evade a ban, but goddamn. And neither can you, chat. People tell me I'm crazy for saying re-education camps. What do you do with this guy? Re-education camp for this guy is an infinitely better solution than what most people would advocate for, you know?
That pig Latin here.
Johnson was charged with 3 counts of kidnapping and 1 count each of impersonating a law enforcement officer, petty larceny, assault, and battery, according to jail records. The men in the vehicle are not facing charges, according to local police.
Have fun.
Johnson posted a bond of over $230,000 and was released from jail, according to online court records. In a court appearance, his family pleaded with the judge.
Who fronted him the 23 grand? Oh my God, does he come from a rich family too?
Saying that their son has mental health issues and has tried to get help in the past, but he needs to continue with that therapy, according to CNN affiliate WCIV. CNN has been unable to locate an attorney for Johnson.
Wait, no, he needs 23 for 2,300. You're right, not 23,000. Right? Is it 2,300 for 230,000 or is it 23,000 for 230,000? I think it's 23K. Yeah, I got it right. No hate crime charges like this are unironic consequences of Trump's attack on everything is DEI. I know, chatters. I know the bail. The bail is you don't pay the full price. You usually pay 10%. You front it to a bail bondsman. You front the 10% to a bail bondsman, and he covers the rest. And then if you actually don't attend your court date or whatever, then that's when bounty hunters come in. An insane process, but the bond is 10% of that. That's how bail works.
There's the conversation that pro-life people don't care about the baby once it's born. There are a bunch of people that believe that. But I wanted to find the people that don't believe that. We have a petition here to support universal school lunch and universal child care. We just think people should have access to this, and we thought the best place to get signatures for this petition are the March for Life. This is the place where everyone cares about life. Would you like to sign the petition?
I don't really appreciate being ambushed on camera. I do know that there are a ton of people down there that would definitely be willing to sign.
No, I actually don't believe that schools should be providing kids lunch. I think it's up to the individual and the parents.
Universal school lunch and universal child care. And we're trying to get people to sign to show that, you know, we care about babies when they're out of the womb. Would you like to sign the petition?
Like Vance said, I'd have to look it up.
Are you interested in signing it?
I'd rather read about it first.
Pre-K and school lunch. That's it. Nothing crazy. Nothing radical.
We're just trying to show that it's universal school lunch is bipartisan and that universal pre-K is bipartisan. Very divided country, but we want to show the public that there's some unity there.
No, you don't understand. Them babies got to pick themselves up by the bootstraps. We're here to make sure that the women are forcibly carrying pregnancies to term, nothing else. You understand me? Once the baby's out the pussy, it's time for bootstraps, baby. Dumbass baby, get a job. Learn the value of $1 real quick. Lunch debt is a good thing.
Big hand of government gets involved. They tend to manipulate preconditions that I wouldn't.
This is how so many people sound when they try to sound smart about politics but have no fucking clue what they're saying, including but not limited to people that come into my chat and, you know, try to repeat talking points from someone else. When the government gets involved, there's preconditions that determine the aspect of the governance that you can't contend with, libtard. You don't understand. After all, the government's going to offer free food to children in school. That's unacceptable. What if they actually offered delicious sandwiches?
Would necessarily not support.
We have a petition for universal school lunch We have another petition for universal child care. We wanted to show that this is a group that cares about children. Are you interested in signing the petition?
We're trying to meet the rest of our group.
Oh, you got to get to your group. Oh, okay.
I appreciate.
It's a petition for universal school lunch and universal child care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody signed it yet?
Nobody signed it yet.
Aw, there you go. There's at least one. There's at least one guy. You know, goddamn. Asman go be pissed. Kids are getting a free lunch and he isn't getting free lunch. So why would he vote to sign for it? Yeah. Well, yeah. That's right. That's right, chat. Kids are getting free lunch. I'm not. I'm not in favor of that. And why should I be? Why should I be in favor of that? Really? Yeah.
You were the first person.
Why?
Congratulations. So you're the first signature of the day. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Donald Trump.
You think Donald Trump is going to support universal child care, universal school lunches?
Listen,
why not?
If enough of his constituency pushes for that, I feel like that could be something that's like bipartisan.
I mean, we want them to be born, and we want them to be happy in school and get.
There's the Hawaiian diff. I don't know how you're Hawaiian and also simultaneously still a Trump supporter, but I guess his heart is in the right place on this issue at least.
Fed,
Yeah.
I always had a hot meal.
Yeah. Thank you for that. You can say yes or you can say no.
I'm going to say no, but I'm going to explain why. Because I don't want to be like, I don't care about kids. I believe in trying to...
Actually, children don't deserve a free lunch. Let me explain to you with logic and reason why this is a bad thing, even though it demonstrably improves educational outcomes across the board.
Make change in society and culture so where we can have that happen and it's not something the government has to provide.
So we're doing a petition for universal school lunch and universal child care.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to sign this petition?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone should live abundantly, right? Like, it's not, I'm not just for like, yes, child born, and therefore, good luck, fend for yourself. No, like everyone should have a chance to live abundantly, right? To what extent is up to the law, of course.
But you know what I think the problem is?
Yeah.
The politicians that are representing the pro-life movement don't think that.
No, they don't.
No, they
do not.
don't.
They don't.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for saying that. Universal school lunch to feed children and universal child care to make sure.
Funded by individual states or by the federal government?
That's a valid question. What's your personal opinion on that?
So I know in Maryland, especially during COVID, they had free lunches and all that. And I noticed, especially even myself, we abused that ability. We would go in and get multiple lunches, all that. So there would have to be a form of either
means testing.
Yeah, means testing, or whether it be like more regulation on like who gets food, how much food. But we also need to look at the economics. So like in Maryland, if you're within a certain economic bracket, you're eligible for free lunches. Because if there's kids who don't need it, why burden the taxpayer with a kid who...
Oh my God. Everyone is a liberal, dude. Everyone is a liberal. Well, I guess it's because modern day, you look so annoyed. It's because I am, because modern day liberals are so invested in neoliberalism that they look like a conservative. They look like the conservative party of the 90s. When you hear a conservative now, it is indistinguishable from a liberal in terms of social safety nets. It's very frustrating how much like the broader outlook of the party has changed. Burden the taxpayer with children who don't need to pay for school lunch is so stupid. It's especially stupid because it's called taxes. There is a way to do means testing after the fact, okay? It's called taxes, all right? If you really want to do that, you can do that. Except you don't want to do that. That's the problem. If you want rich families to pay more oh, Jesus. Japan pays well less for education and has home-cooked meals for every child.
Who can absolutely, like his family.
Mm-hmm. I know this is an old topic, but I want to say, Hasan, I respect your politics a lot, and your team is really good. And please tell me if I'm wrong, but Frogan's comments on veterans were really callous and dumb, and really ignores the nuance of the military-industrial complex and why people serve outside of patriotism. Frogan's comments literally factored in veterans that veterans that serve alongside members of the left in an anti-war in terms of like feeling conflicted about their service. I don't know if you heard that aspect of her commentary. Does he think millionaires are sending their kids to public school for free lunch? No, but even if they did, like, I mean, I'm sure he's at the very least pretending to act like he believes that. Nobody has heard the commentary. They've seen 15-second clips. Yeah, probably. But once again, there's a solution for it. It's called taxes. You know, why are people asking about Frogan? As far as I know, you aren't Frogan. I don't know. I actually don't know. I assume, well, part of the reason why people attack Frogan is because she's a mod in my community, despite the fact that she's also a content creator on her own. So that's the reason why a lot of people, every time something is clipped out of context or every time she says something, people will immediately turn around and say like, oh, you know, you must address this take. Not just a mod, but head mod. Oh, a head mod.
Family can absolutely, take care of him.
So if I'm telling you that this is for people,
if you're asking me why Frogan gets attacked a lot, yes, this is correct. Easy target, woman, has a hijab, wears a hijab, smaller creator, isn't apologetic, also does have a little bit of a penchant for drama, given her old Stan Twitter ways. It's a perfectly nuclear combination, but the first three factors are the most significant. Address the fact that he's in a Spider-Man suit saying kids shouldn't get free lunch. Yeah, it's funny because nobody thinks they're a villain, right? But it's especially funny when you're dressed up like a hero and you're advocating for what the villain would be advocating for in the story. It's like a comic book villain level of idiocy and cruelty to be like, yeah, poor kids should starve at school.
You would sign it?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. What?
1,000%. 1,000%. I mean, I actually want to be a teacher once I graduate college, and signing this means that every student, every kid, every child out there, no matter what age they are, no matter where they are financially with their family or anything like that, that we're going to be able to help them. So of course I would sign that.
Perfect. There you go. We're trying to create a movement where everyone gets fed.
How would that work?
It's there's people smarter than myself that can explain that in a more better. But you know what? I'm trying to show that there's bipartisan support for this. Because people say that the pro-life movement doesn't care about the child once it's born. Some people think that way, but I wanted to show that not everyone thinks that way. Okay. Would you sign this petition? Yeah, sure. Okay.
There you go.
Awesome.
I can also.
All right, very cool. We've got 4 signatures. First, to provide children with free access to health care, school lunch, child care, universal school lunch, and universal child care. And since this is the March for Life, and it's very focused on kids, I thought the best place to get signatures would be the March for Life. Would you like to sign this petition?
What kind of school lunch? Like just making sure that they have funding for that?
Yes, it is to show, I'm trying to show that there's bipartisan support for this.
Right.
And that this is something that goes beyond just like a red or blue thing, that most people agree with it.
Right.
For, making sure that every child is fed in this country, that every child is educated, that mothers can go to work and not have to worry about child care. I feel like our politicians, they get to divide us on these issues like abortion. A good amount of people here actually think that we should feed children. The politicians representing the pro-life movement don't think that every child should get fed. And I wanted to show that. It's a very complicated issue that I'm trying to show. Some of the people here would not sign this petition. I only have 7 signatures here. These people do exist. I also wanted to show that there are a good number of people that don't care about the child once it's out of the womb.
Doge teen, known as online as Big Balls, now a government expert. This was actually on TV. Lol. Yo, it's so funny, dude. We're so goated. We're so epic. We're doing epic bass style memes. Yo, this shit is so lame. I don't understand it. Are we becoming lamer every day? I feel like we're the more racist this country is getting, the more reactionary this country is getting, the lamer we're getting too on top of that. Giga Dark Maga based +1 Reddit gold. The chivification of races must be studied. Ay. Oh. Remember when Fox News was so upset that Obama was taking selfies in the Oval Office? What is this? I mean, come on. That's just so far in the past. Our social conditioning is crazy. Like, so many people really must not know that this is actually what they're advocating for. I mean, I think people do know. They just don't care. The marketing on this kind of stuff is so bad. You know what I mean? Like, there is nothing redeemable about any of this. At least Donald Trump is like telegenic and kind of funny when he wants to be. So much of this just doesn't hit. Back in the day, Republicans still couldn't joke. Okay. So they would try to like trigger the libs and own the libs by being super racist. Now, that level of supercharged racism is like the norm. And I feel like sometimes they're trying to own the libs by being as dorky as possible and then being like, yeah, we're funny. And the liberals don't know we're funny. Is that a way to own the libs? Maybe? I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they're putting a lot of thought or effort into the destruction of the American state, if that makes sense. Speaking of Elon Musk's epic meme team, one of the guys just got shit canned for being outed as a Nazi. And no, his name is not Elon Musk. One of the guys that Elon Musk hired, shocking absolutely zero people. Yeah, real shocker here. 25-year-old rooting around in the code of the U.S. government's payment system likes to post things like normalize Indian hate. The other ones are also racist too. It's just that this one is the one that got cooked. Was it the 19-year-old white kid or the other 19-year-old white kid? Well, I assumed that it wasn't the Indian one, considering he's talking about normalizing Indian hate. Wasn't one of them Indian? There's two Asian kids. The guy who got fired from Doge for racist posts can't even argue if he's not racist because he explicitly brags about being racist. Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. Null PTR posted in July. When was it cool? Did it become cool? Here are the relevant pages from the article. Marco Elez is the first Elon Musk Doge boy to resign after the Wall Street Journal uncovered racist posts, including ones where he advocated for repealing the Civil Rights Act and backed the eugenic immigration policy. Elez previously worked at SpaceX and currently works at X. One of the funniest things you can be is like an anti-Indian racist when you're in the tech sector. Because it's like, dude, what do you just hate 80% of your coworkers? Like, the fuck? Like, dude, you worked at SpaceX and now you're working at X. Virtually everyone around you is either a first-generation immigrant or Asian. What are we doing here? That's exactly what it looks like in tech, to be honest. 25-year-old employee Marco Elez resigned Thursday after the Wall Street Journal asked the White House about his connections to the account. The deleted profile associated with Elez, who was embedded in the Treasury Department to carry out efficiency measures, advocated repealing the Civil Rights Act and backed the eugenic immigration policy in the weeks before President Trump was inaugurated. Oh my God. He was popping off right before he got this new job, too. You could not pay me to marry outside of my ethnicity, the account wrote on X in September. According to a Wall Street Journal review of the archive post, normalize Indian hate, the account wrote the same month, in reference to a post noting the prevalence of people from India in Silicon Valley. The account, null pointer, a misspelling of a keyword in the C++ programming language, was deleted in December, but hundreds of brash, sometimes sophomoric posts have been archived. The user appeared to have a special dislike for Indian software engineers. 99% of Indian H-1Bs, oh, that's why he had to resign. I get it. That's the real reason. 99% of Indian H-1Bs will be replaced by slightly smarter LLMs. They're going back. Don't worry, guys. The user posted in December. Just for the record, I was racist before it was cool. Null pointer posted in July. In June, the user weighed on the conflict in the Middle East, offering some sympathy for Israel, but also posting, I would not mind at all if Gaza and Israel were both wiped off the face of the earth. Nice, dude. Extreme centrist. Okay, it could be because of the H-1B thing, or more likely it could be because of Israel. It is wild that so many groypers, like so many open, active Nick Fuentes fans are getting highlighted by this administration. It is wild. This is just your average Republican. Yeah. Estad is on CNN right now. Judge blocks Trump's buyout
this
offer.
angle. It's what Doge is doing with Elon Musk. It's what, the executive order about Schedule F and kind of the reclassifying of some of these workers as political appointees, making it easier to fire them. This has been something that the deluge, the fire hose from the executive order. So I was looking at that list. I was thinking how repetitive many of them are.
Do background checks not exist anymore? Bro, Elon Musk did the background check, chatter. He hired him because he was racist.
In terms of implementation, not just ideology.
And it's kind of how we saw Trump's personal legal strategy play out when he was out of
he
office.
checked him all right.
A lot of his attorneys, not all, I should say, are working for the federal government right now, are going to be. But it's this kind of either delay, and just fight it out in the courts later, or just throw everything, file all these motions, and essentially take all of these attempts to fight this.
And let me go even farther back in Donald Trump's history. He came up as a real estate baron in this city by stiffing his contractors, right? His theory was, well, I owe this concrete supplier $100,000 for this job. How about I just pay you nothing? And then you, concrete supplier, who has less resources than me, less time than me, you go hire a lawyer, you go sue me, and you know what's going to probably happen? Probably settle for a fraction of it. So it's really that same litigation tactic brought to the White House.
But what's different is this is the federal government,
Right,
and there
exactly.
are different responsibilities in terms of the USAID numbers really struck me tonight in terms of yes, there have been all the arguments about maybe this is wasteful or why are we spending money on this as a country. But to see that there are only 290 people left of an agency that had 10,000 people in it 2 weeks ago is a drastic amount. And it makes me wonder about the assurances that we've received and that Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, has offered, saying we're going to keep this up. But, I mean, you've virtually eliminated every position there.
They're trying to have their cake and eat it, too. They're saying this won't be a full, whole-scale change. Essential services would continue. But those numbers kind of to betray the point. Because it will be such a drastic reduction in the folks at USAID, I think what you're saying is important, though, because there was a desire for government reform. There has been a sense government's been wasteful, change is necessary. But is that what we are seeing? I think that's going to be the big question. Is really not, I think there is a mandate for shakeup, right? And I think Donald Trump is right to kind of claim that thing. But I think there's a much bigger question of what the solutions are. And that's the part the Democrats are really engaging in right now. Yes, it's a question of resistance to Trump. But the real question is, what should foreign aid look like, right? What does an efficient bureaucracy, what does efficient government look like? And Donald Trump is offering his vision of that right now. The question is going to be the counterweight.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen an alternative being offered to USAID in this sense. As Trump's talking about taking over Gaza and what that looks like. But, Ellie, what we heard from this judge, I thought this was a notable quote from the judge who blocked the midnight deadline, saying it has become ever more apparent that to our president, the rule of law is but an impediment to his policy goals. The rule of law is, according to him, something to navigate around or simply ignore, whether that be for political or personal gain.
Okay, so first of all, that judge that we're looking at right now, he's a Reagan appointee. He's not some liberal Democratic appointee. Those are pretty strong words. And I think that judge is identifying the same thing we're talking about. And look at this USAID reduction, right? The law is pretty clear that the president cannot on his own create or completely eliminate a federal agency. Congress has to do that. And so what does he do? He says, well, I'm not going to quite eliminate it. I'm just going to cut it from 10,000 people to 290 people. That was done strategically. And I agree. I think that judge is right. This is all about getting his policy goals, maybe expanding the law, and really sort of throwing red meat to the political base. And again, what's the cost to Trump? He doesn't even have to pay for his lawyers anymore. Now he has DOJ do it for free.
The only question to me is there a public response, right? Like, we haven't really seen a kind of engaged electorate or the type of pushback we saw back in 2017. Donald Trump, I think we know what this administration's goals are, and we know that they have a kind of multi-pronged legal and political strategy to advance them. To me, the issue is, where are they going to meet that resistance? We know the courts are going to be one place, but the place that will drive the elected officials will be if there's a public reaction. And we haven't seen that to this front. And I think it's important to say, is there a story about USAID and these government agencies that people do feel like essential services are being lost?
That's such a great point, because Trump is often driven by the coverage, the perception of something. He may not realize in the moment how something goes over. I'm thinking of Helsinki when he was standing shoulder to shoulder with Putin, but it was only after the coverage later that he walked back his statement, because he's driven by the coverage of this. And so far, maybe they think, well, we've got tacit approval, essentially.
Yeah, there would have been a way to do this smart. I mean, there is government bloat. There is government waste. I mean, take the FBI. I could point out some people who may not be super necessary to the FBI.
Can you explain really quickly why a buyout in the federal government is different than a corporate buyout? Because people might be sitting at home saying, okay, well, corporations do buyouts all the time. Why are you guys freaking out?
A lot of people like corporate buyouts. The difference, though, is in the federal government, Congress has to allocate money. It's not just like a water faucet you can turn on and off. And so Congress has to allocate both the amount of money and the time in which it needs to be spent or cannot be spent. And here, if this buyout plan goes through, suddenly you're going to see, what's the math? 50,000 people times 7 months of benefits. I mean, that's probably hundreds of millions of dollars. So yeah, buyouts are not inherently evil. In fact, they can be quite productive and helpful in the private sector. But here, the real question is it constitutional? And that's where I think he's going to run into problems.
Eli Honig, Estad Herndon, that was robust.
People love losing their jobs. They love layoffs, dude. It's the
Treasury Department's central
fan favorite. Yeah, I mean, people love corporate buyouts. You know who loves them? CEOs, shareholders.
symbolizing a deadly attack.
Oh my Lord. What else? What else is there to talk about today? I feel like I covered everything. We all hate CEOs. Let's play GeoGuessr. This guy really wants me to play GeoGuessr. Can you answer my question, please? Do you honestly think that America's racist because MAGA is basically a multicultural and multiracial movement that concentrates all of its hate towards immigrants and trans people? Okay. Yes, dude. Like, everyone can be racist. It's like saying, how could you say ICE is doing the bidding of racists? They're 52% Hispanic. I know. This is a really funny thing that's been happening. A brief note here. Newly pardoned January 6th rioter Andrew Take has been rearrested. The Harris County, Texas DA had an outstanding warrant for Take's arrest on charge of an online solicitation of a minor. Fantastic stuff. Turns out many of the January 6ers that were arrested and were in jail were maybe not in jail for the reasons that they should have been in jail, but so many of them are taking the last 2 weeks of freedom to do everything in their power to go back to prison. Okay? They're working tirelessly. They are working tirelessly. They're getting final destination, but for jail. Yeah. Emily Hernandez, pardoned for capital rights since the 17 years in fatal DWI crash. There was another guy who literally got killed by a cop. Did they think that like getting pardoned means like immunity for crimes of the future as well? Like, is that actually what's going on here? But they were like, oh, dude, I got pardoned by the president. I'm unstoppable. Let me go do some crimes real quick. He's like, finally, finally, I can live out my dreams of soliciting minors online for sexual intercourse. Now that my president, Donald Trump, has given me the right to do so. I got immunity. Permanent immunity, brother. Nah, before January 6th, nobody wrote about members of those groups doing crimes. Yes, they did. Those guys are, half of them had priors. They should get immunity again. Donald Trump should just release them again. Really set the standard. Set a precedent that if you've ever done something at the behest of Trump, if you've ever defended Donald Trump, then you defend Donald Trump once, you get pardoned forever. I like that. There was a new alt-right playbook, Double Wrong. Did you see the Daniel Penny news? Yeah, Daniel Penny was hired by Andreessen Horowitz for literally just killing a homeless man on the subway. That's it. Like, they did not hire him for anything other than the fact that he got famous in conservative circles for murdering a homeless person. It's wild. Yes, I did cover the golden pager thing. All right. No gaming tonight. No, I'm too tired. I'm going to end it here, chat. I love you all. First day back. Oh, this is the wrong one. First day back. Okay. Welcome back. America is worse than I left it. Somehow. Didn't realize that was even possible. But on that note, I don't know how I have stayed up this entire time because I sleep briefly on the plane. Didn't get to sleep that much. Hopefully I'll pass out in like 3 to 4 hours. But in any case, love you all. Tomorrow is another day, and I'll see you when I see you. tomorrow. They said it couldn't be done. Japan to Los Angeles. Boom, boom, back-to-back streams. But it could. I did the damn thing. Love you all. See you tomorrow.
Reviewing the P.O. box, Uncle Uger's face. Sudden discord at your prop. Great names take on breaks. Tiny Bernie Sanders, LGBTQ Air Force. The whole left at your fingertips, Ane at your door. H3 crowded debate, the Young Turks online show. 3 full fucking years of this, plenty more to go. 90-day fiance, talks of champagne, bourgeoisie. A Trump rally live reaction, a mass riot at DC. There he is again, Hasan is streaming, Hasan is streaming. There he is again, Hasan is streaming, Hasan is streaming. Reading a live stream, fair comments, Austin show chat advice, and all the ways the right-wing pipeline can suck you in online. JCS react, Lord frame gets broken, cover blown. A full-blown mass pandemic, monster streaming at your home. Total radicalization coming out to find. The system you were taught to trust in was broken the whole time. All these daily streams, whether big or whether small, have helped me and so many find the meaning through it all. There he is again, Hasan is streaming, Hasan is streaming.